with Adam Simpson, the Eagles coach, in a premiership year at Hawthorn. The Dogs have a new captain who set the standard in the NAB Challenge, and along with younger teammates will look to take it up to the Eagles, who need young stars to fill the big shoes of some of the retired champs. Speaking of which, I've got a retired champ right with me, Alistair Lynch, who's been a star throughout his career. And I must say, Lynchy, I just always love round one as a player, and I love it as a commentator. You just don't know what's happening.
Absolutely. There's a lot of hope for the fans. You see them starting to pour into Etihad Stadium now to see the game, and they're looking forward to a great season for their clubs. No matter what happened last year, it's a fresh start.
Let's take a look at the Western Bulldogs first. They had an amazing off-season, always in the headlines, most of the time for the wrong reasons. October 9th, the captain walked out.
Then the very next day, Brendan McCartney resigns as the coach, so things weren't going well at all. Then it was a bit of sweet and sour. Griffin goes, but they pick up Tom Boyd, which is a real positive.
Then the Brownlow medalist moved camp. He went off to the Bombers. And then finally, a big signing.
Well, I think that things start to turn around here. Luke Beveridge comes in. This is a magnificent appointment. They lose their captain last year, and one of the real champions on and off the field is appointed captain. Then Simon Garlick resigns as CEO. Some more controversy, and that was a tough summer, and it didn't just finish there. Obviously, their best and fairest winner from last year, Tom Liberatore, in NAB 1, does his ACL. Really bad news.
So there was a lot of negativity surrounding the Western Bulldogs. New coach, no one knows whether or not he can coach. New captain, and a reasonable start to the NAB Challenge. And then in the NAB 3, they turned on one of the most emphatic, impressive displays I saw, which has lit my enthusiasm for the Western Bulldogs as this season unfolds. Their defensive pressure was incredible. One young bloke was reborn in Jared Grant. They unearthed a couple of young stars. We know of Bontempelli and McRae that were superb. But their defence was incredible. But their attack also, Lynchy, the run and the gun, it was just great to watch.
Well, that's right. We know the defensive work and their head over the ball stuff in the last couple of years has been really good. They need to develop their outside game. We certainly saw this against Collingwood in week 4 of the NAB Challenge. Their outside work was fantastic. Bontempelli had 15 disposals in the first quarter and had a number of contributors across the field. So I think this is why the fans have come today on the back of such an impressive performance against Collingwood that had most of their good players in. So really encouraging signs for the Bulldogs late in the summer.
Let's take a look at the Western Bulldogs team. Not many changes. You'll know all of those faces and names when they come out. But of course there is Tom Boyd, the big signing, as we've already discussed.
That's right, and down back they look pretty solid, and Boyd spent some time, Matthew Boyd that is, across half back as well. He's a class act, so I think their back six, it looks pretty solid. Going through the midfield is pretty good. On the inside, again, we've got to see them develop on the outside, and then Redpath and Boyd. Now we can't expect too much from these guys that have played 9 games and 3 games respectively, but when the ball hits the ground, they need Honeychurch and they need Dowhouse to tackle and keep the ball in there. Repeated forward 50 entries is going to be the method.
And of course they welcome back Shuey Cromeri, who hasn't played a game, but it hasn't stopped the Bombers tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a run through the middle.
Well, he'll be looking forward to getting up the field and play as that third tall, which is really his main position. He kicked 37 goals from 22 games last year. I think he's going to really dine out and having 2 other targets up there.
Let's hear from the Western Bulldogs coach. Here he is with Barry Hall.
Well, Bevo, first game for points under the reins of the senior coach. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, Baz. I'm a tad nervous, but I went down and watched our VFL boys play Geelong down at Cattery and saw them perform really well. So it's a good way to fill in the day and prepare myself for tonight.
Now, what also always seemed to be a bit of an Achilles heel for the Dogs was their forward line, but at the moment you got a forward of plenty. There's Boyd, who's been the big name, obviously come down, but you got Stringer, you got Cremery, you got Dixon in there as well. It must be a pretty handy thing to have.
Yeah, there is, Baz. There's some options there, and some of our smalls as well. And our mids kicked, a number of goals in the last game we played in the NAB. So hopefully we can spread that out again tonight and share that load. It's really important that we're not too predictable. So we're looking for a good contest from our bigs, and hopefully they can catch a few. But at their feet, we need to make sure we've got numbers there.
Watched a bit of the NAB Challenge, and your ball movement was a real key for me, especially off half-back and through the middle of the ground. That quick ball movement was a real feature. We'll see a bit more of that today.
Yeah, we will. We need to make sure that the tempo of the game gels with what we're capable of, and the game against Collingwood, there were some really good signs. So we'll be exploring that again tonight, and in times when our brigade are probably a little bit fatigued after effort, then we need to make sure that we make good decisions. So hopefully we'll have a good balance tonight.
Good luck today.
Thanks, Bass.
Luke Beveridge, the Bulldogs coach. We're off and running at Etihad Stadium. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll look at the West Coast Eagles team. We'll chat to their coach as we head to the opening bounce for these two sides for season 2015. Welcome back to Etihad Stadium. The Bulldogs first out onto the ground, led by their superstar captain, albeit a new, inexperienced captain in Robert Murphy, who runs onto the ground as skipper for the first time, looking for points. He'd be a little bit nervous as well because expectations are high, Alistair.
Yeah, he would be a little bit nervous. There's big shoes to fill, there's no doubt about that. But he is, as we said in the first break, he's a class act. He's been a class player for over many years. The 2011 All-Australian will do this on his ear. He's a great selection for the Bulldogs moving forward.
Certainly hasn't impacted on his form through the NAB Challenge. His numbers are quite impressive. And I've got to say that when you've got Matt Boyd and Robert Murphy off that half-back line, then you've got a lot of experience and you've got a lot of capacity to use the ball and use it damagingly.
Well, that's right. They've got a few good negating defenders down there, but we spoke about previously, they need the outside run. If the ball is in the hand of Robert Murphy, he's going to hit the targets, as indicated through the NAB Challenge series, hitting the target 80% of the time, and that's absolutely elite. He's got composure, rarely gets caught with the ball, and he's a massive asset for his younger players.
Let's take a look at the West Coast Eagles. Get out onto the ground. We'll talk to Adam Simpson shortly. But I've been impressed with their ball movement over the NAB Challenge, and it has changed. The traits of the old are just about gone, and Adam Simpson, I think, is now making his mark on this team.
Yeah, absolutely, and we've seen how they've introduced the short kick. They're not just a bomb it long to their big, powerful forwards, and they've got those powerful forwards, but we've seen the short passing, hit-up targets, and also we saw through the NAB Challenge, they're the ones that the kick-handball ratio is the closest in the competition, so they're just not prepared to bomb long down the line, which is certainly traditional for the West Coast Eagles.
And they've been criticised for being poor kicks. When you get the majority of your kicks 30 metres or less, it's far easier, I guess, to hit targets. And you just see here they're moving the ball from one end of the ground to the other, maintaining possession. Now tonight the challenge will be, can they maintain possession with the short kicking game, with the handballing game, under far greater pressure that the Western Bulldogs will supply.
The pressure is the key word there, and it's whether you go quick or slow it up and just slow down the game, take the tempo out of the game, control the pace of the game. Now that will certainly dictate their performance tonight. If they can go slow, but when they have a chance, go very quickly.
Both coaches cut their teeth in the Hawthorn family under Alistair Clarkson. Are we going to see a similar style of play, one v the other?
Well, I think that the talent of these coaches, and all very good coaches, is to identify what talent you have at your disposal. I don't think other clubs can just think they're going to play like Hawthorn, because other clubs just can't play like Hawthorn. They haven't got that particular kicking skill out of halfback. So we'll wait and see how they evolve their game plan, but there is no doubt a fair influence is going to come from Alistair Clarkson and the very successful Hawthorn lineup. Let's take a look at the Eagles lineup. Of course, they've got a new captain in Shannon Hearn making his debut, 4 points as well. And there's some holes. Yeah, there is some holes, and certainly when you have McKenzie going down with an ACL during the season, take Glass out of the side as well, now he's retired, so it really forces McGovern back. And great to see a couple of debutants. Jackson Nelson, pick 51 from the Geelong Falcons, he gets his opportunity tonight. And Tom Lamb from Dandy Stingrays, a really impressive athlete, so I'm looking forward to seeing him tonight. Well, Adam Simpson is on his way up to the coach's box. The pressure is about to start for Adam Simpson in his second year, but also it's a chance to achieve and get off to a great start. Welcome to you.
Yeah, well, look, it's exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time, and it's been a long build-up, a long pre-season, and we can't wait. Certainly from a point of view of the Western Bulldogs, they haven't had a great summer. Obviously with Liberatore's ACL, similar to yours, a key player's gone out of the side. What concerns you the most about them tonight? Oh, look, I went through it last year with the excitement of a new coach, a new system, and the genuine belief you had, and they had a really good pre-season in terms of performance. So, we played the Bulldogs round one last year, and look, I pretty much just let them get out there and do their thing. So I get the feeling they're going to come out pretty hard.
Jerry McGovern was a top-up player almost for you last year. All of a sudden now with your injuries, he needs to fire, and his form has been pretty good.
Yeah, look, he's played 13 games, I think, and strangely enough, you wouldn't think it. I think we're younger tonight than the Bulldogs, which perception wouldn't be that way. So we've got a lot of guys under 20, 30 games, but they're also exciting.
What can we expect from Nick Natanui? I mean, there's been a lot of talk. He's got the opportunity now. Like, Dean Cox is out of the team. When, I suppose, Gardner retired many years ago, Coxie stepped up. Are we going to see a different role?
Oh, no, I'll just see the similar role. He's given himself a really good preparation over pre-season. It doesn't guarantee you anything, but it just gives you a really good look, hopefully for a consistent year.
You would have heard of a young kid called Marcus Bontempelli. Yeah. He's put a few kilos on over the summer period, and he was absolutely devastating here a couple of weeks ago. I take it you're going to put a Selwood or somebody on to run with him and make life really difficult as a midfielder.
Yeah, look, he's a young player, but he's an up-and-coming superstar, so we've got to put a bit of time into him, and there's a few other A-grade players as well, but he's a special player.
Well, speaking of the A-grade players, one man we just spoke about before, Robert Murphy, he's a key off half-back.
Yeah.
I would imagine he's one you've got to put a lot of time into.
Yeah, anyone else? There's a couple more there.
Geez, you're making it tough for Simo,
McRae?
Yeah, he's another good player too. Like, they've got some really good youth and some good experience as well. And with the excitement of what they've had a pre-season with, it's going to be a tough ask.
Shannon Hearns in his first game as captain. You've once faced that challenge. Does he kick with a wind or not?
He asked me which way do you want me to kick, and I said, kick to the cheer squad, mate.
Good luck, Adam, and hope you have a great year.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Adam Simpson, the Eagles coach. We're going to take a break. Matty Campbell to pick it up for the opening bounce over this. It's the Western Bulldogs versus the West Coast Eagles. Etihad Stadium, round one.
Etihad Stadium, round one, not too far away for the Western Bulldogs and the West Coast Eagles, and a wonderful situation here. Two new captains for their first toss of the coin in the season proper. No more NAB challenge. It's going to be Bob Murphy for the first time for the Western Bulldogs and Shannon Hearn as Bob Murphy waits on. Good crowd building here at Etihad. A lovely day in Melbourne for Easter Saturday. Of course, it is a night match. As always, the roof is closed, and high expectations for a good game of footy to kick things off, and the Bulldogs certainly after their good performance against Collingwood in the NAB Challenge. Yes, it is just that sort of game, but they were very impressive, so the fans here tonight will have some high expectations of their performance. Not the best coin toss we've seen so far, but it'll do. And Shannon Hearn has kicked to the cheer squad, so he has taken the advice of his coach, Adam Simpson. We've heard from Barry Hall earlier on, but let's get back down to our ground level for his thoughts on tonight's game. Barry.
Yeah, thanks, Matty. Well, there's a lot of unsurety going into round one for both sides, but there is one sure thing from my point of view, and that's Jeremy McGovern has become one of the better utilities in the competition. Started his career as a forward. He went down back last season, and geez, what an attacking defender he become. Ended up winning the contested marks for the West Coast Eagles last year. But the good thing about this bloke, whether he plays back or forward, you've got to put some time into him. You can't let him run his own race. And look, from Adam Simpson's point of view, you love to have blokes on the list just like this. If you need a couple of goals squeezed out, he's the man you go to. If you've got to ice the game or stop a run of scoring, McGovern's the man you go to. So, look, I love this bloke. I've got a bit of a man crush on him. I hope he doesn't get too embarrassed about that, but I can't wait to see how they use him in 2015, but more importantly tonight, Matty.
Barry, I'm certain no one will get embarrassed if you have a man crush on them. I'm certain of that one thing, so that's terrific. So we'll keep a good eye on Jeremy McGovern on tonight, and Nat Nui is one player that we're also going to keep a close eye on. Gentlemen, you're back up. You've done a wonderful start downstairs. What do you think? Are the Bulldogs a genuine chance? I mean, the West Coast have a good record over the Bulldogs.
They do, but I think they're a genuine chance of Western Bulldogs. You can't have seen them 2 weeks ago and not walk away being impressed and knowing that the West Coast Eagles have got a job in front of them. They've got Mark Lacroix. I suspect he'll have had a lot of time put into him by Luke Beveridge. He's had a great history against this club, kicked 5 goals and had 30 possessions last time they played. They've got other match winners down there, but they've also got a couple of holes. This is a ripper, and the joint is rocking.
West Coast Eagles, Western Bulldogs 2015 underway. Nat Nui first, up, down, got it on the way down. Selwood wrapped up by Bontempelli. And as expected, there's a quick free kick. No report, but a quick free kick, and it's Mitch Wallace first up for the Bulldogs. Wants to move it quickly. High ball up, Boyd on Brown. second man in. Here's the man that Barry just spoke about. McGovern gets his first mark, but he misses his target. A tough one for Marston with a handball over the top. Cripps comes at it. My hand back. And this one is back to the first gamer here in Jackson Nelson.
Great to see a left footer coming in for every club. Hawks have built premierships on it.
You just go on the back 50, don't you, if you're left
Just
footer?
get in the back half.
Don't think you're going to kick goals. Just walk to the back line. But as we spoke about pre-game, the ability to use the ball short to soak up a bit of pressure, but then when the opportunity goes, you've got to pull the trigger and go quick.
A little bit of pressure on Prittis there from the kick from Yo. The spoil was by Dowhouse. Yo to tidy up his error there. Rosa attacks it, but attacking it better was Boyd. That's Matthew Boyd. Flicks it out the back towards Wallace. Tom Boyd there as well. Going in to help out for the second time, Rosa.
This is the pressure the Dogs need. Need to really put the ball carrier under a lot of pressure so he can't hit the target. And as we spoke about, they've gone very big, and that's through necessity with Redpath and Boyd up there. The ball's going to be on the ground a lot. It's going to be turned over. They've got to make sure that they keep the ball in their forward half.
Pivotal battle here in the ruck. Both players all Australian, and they're doing quite well around the stoppage at the moment here, the Eagles.
Shuey. Back to Hearn.
Like this pressure.
That's the pressure from Pickin that time.
Absolutely. This is exactly the start that the Bulldogs wanted.
He moves it quickly. Once Boyd gets rid of his opponent, but then can't take the mark. McGovern again, back to Brown. Again, good pressure. This time it came from Dowhouse. And that pressure in that 450's got this crowd up and about.
And Dowhouse is involved there. When we saw on that occasion, Boyd actually got in a really good position. It was Stringer that got into the back of him. That's going to take a little bit of time just to coordinate the forward 50. A few new players up there.
Minson was in front. Nat Nui came over the top towards the Brownlow medalist in Prittis. Wallace fishes it out towards Cranberry. Has Pickens, got to use him back. Wood, he's under some pressure. Kick towards McRae. Down low, Selwood did well to get it over to Hearn. Good vision by Hearn. Now Lacroix, they want to move it quickly. Lysette is very athletic, the big man. He moves on, gets around Roughhead easily inside the forward 50 for the Eagles. That's transition, that's good footy.
That was one of the best kicks I've seen this year. Only been a few games, but absolutely brilliant from the skipper of the Eagles. He's known for blasting the ball long, but under enormous pressure with half a dozen bodies around him, he picked out a target 35 metres up the ground, hit him on the chest, and that set up this shot at goal.
He was a goal kicker last year. Cripps kicked 27 goals. Directly in front, 40 metres out. First score for the Eagles. And the first score for the Eagles is a good one. It's a goal.
No, it's all about transition footy.
Oh, yeah.
Richie, the Bulldogs had set up a camp in their forward 50, but they weren't able to get it. Let's take a look at this kick under enormous pressure. Gets on the handball and then just picks it out of target through the middle of the ground. And that then sets up the width in the game. And this is a really good kick from Scott Lysette as well. Good to see the big men delivering the ball like the mid-sizes.
A beautiful kick inside 50.
Nice start by the Eagles. So the Bulldogs had all the pressure in their forward 50, but it was an open one for West Coast and Jamie Cripps. In game number 51, as you see, 56 career goals. He finds the goals. Bad bounce, that should come back. It does.
And that's the problem with, or the risk with high intensity forward 50 pressure, pushing all your numbers up. Once the ball gets out the back, it can be an easy transition. So really the Western Bulldogs must make the West Coast Eagles pay on the back of all that pressure.
Touched off the boot. The kick by Prittis. Ricochet ball. Well done by McGinnity. He managed to knock it clear. Handball by Sheed, though. Cut off. Honeychurch. Wide at Dalhouse, combining with McRae. McRae will try to get on his left, or he kicks with his right. Not bad, but not good enough. Standing in the way, Hearn.
Interesting use of Lacroix. Started off the back half or the back line of the square, and he's just floating around the middle, unattended at the moment. This is good ball use again by the Eagles.
Shuey, man going past Shepherd. Open forward line. Kennedy, almost. Wellingham there as well. Johannison under some pressure. Talia, good kick. Found his target in Cramery.
He went had a bit of each way there, bodied him out and tried to launch. Probably just needed to jump on the shoulders there.
Yeah, you're spot on. Had to go one way or the other.
Switch here by the Bulldogs.
Risky on the left.
Yeah, he missed his target. Then Boyd under pressure from McGinnity. Hangs onto him for a fair while.
Put him on the
Dragged him down. No free kick. Marston on the boundary. Bounces a tough one. Roughhead. Support. Boyd. Goods. That's a hot handball. Here come the Eagles from that turnover. Sheed. Gone. Tackle. Brilliant tackle, Wallace. Kept the ball to him. Not rewarded. We'll have a ball up.
Yeah, Roughhead has to be careful when he had enough time and space. He wasn't forced onto his left. He elected to kick on the left. You've got to get onto your more dominant side.
McRae.
Well, we saw McGinnity over-tackle Matthew Boyd. Didn't want to let him get up and get on the end of a handball. But he still got up and got on the end of a handball, so he needs to actually finish the job. This is really good forward pressure again by the West Coast Eagles.
And notably, Roughhead on that occasion was on the right, hit the target.
And that's the kick that the coaches want to know why he was allowed to slide up and take a chest mark, because there was pressure everywhere. It just needed, I think it was Chris Marston, to turn around and just see which player was going to fill that hole.
There's a win for the West Coast.
Dixon's kick, not a good one. It just dropped on its end. Shepherd reads it best. Quick switch. McGovern in the middle of the ground. He sees Marston, who has Prittis, but now Gaff right in the centre circle. They continue the switch. They continue to push it wide. Hearn is a lovely kick of the football. Here's a long ball into the pocket, perhaps a little bit long for Kennedy. McGinnity can't get there. Roughhead back first. Strong handball by him. Johannesen. Down the line he goes, and he hits his target in Boyd.
Well, that's better from the Western Bulldogs. It's the first time they've rebounded really off the back 50. Everything else has just been under duress, but that time had a bit of counter-attack about it.
One-on-one situation, good spoil from Mitch Brown. Shepherd getting some ball.
They've got the extra one back there now, West Coast.
Rosa cutting through Marston, but he gave it up quickly. Boyd's kicked forward. Clever use of the body by Picken, but almost got a falcon there, hit him on the head. Yo just evades the tackle, did well in the end.
There's the
Butler.
+1 again.
Short kick, Yo.
Do you think they need to square it up?
Absolutely. I think the Dogs +1 is in the middle, but he's lost in congestion at the moment.
McGinnity tries to turn Morris inside out. That's a very difficult thing to do. He's a smart footballer. He causes the error.
Roughhead just down there. He's Roughhead hitting the fence.
Well, that's a poor kick from Matthew Boyd. The pressure now is premiership pressure. It's not NAB challenge pressure. It's the premiership season, and those kicks have got to hit targets.
Be dangerous here, West Coast. Watch Nat Nui.
Shallow throw-in.
Shallow throw-in, couldn't get it involved, but we'll have a go again.
Massive players around here. This is where they can be really dangerous. As you said, Nat Nui can palm this on a silver platter to his smalls.
William went past it. There's Nat Nui on hands and knees. Boyd, Matthew Boyd, high ball, play on. The bounce is fickle. Boyd again, Kennedy lurking. Quick to boot, but went wide, just to behind.
And this is the man they will be putting a lot of time into stopping, Robert Murphy, releasing off half-back.
There he goes, Jared, on cue.
Well, McGinnity, the guy chasing, I'd say has been set with the task of stopping that man.
3 disposals in that chain by Murphy. Unfortunately, the kick just dropping short for Redpath. Now we've got some turnover footy here. Hearn decides to kick. Could have handballed either way. Saw Lycett in a gap. Gets rid of Cremery, back on it. Takes on the tackler. Throw. Umpire in perfect position.
Well, it's fast and frenetic. Lynchy, they're going to be looking for the oxygen tent in about 5 minutes' time.
As the lactic acid starts to really build up, that's a beautiful
That's an
kick.
excellent switch. Look at that. Johannesen doesn't break stride. He likes to run. He's got a bit of room to move.
Think his way through.
Kicks it deep. Arriving late, Stringer. Too late.
Did not think his way through that. He had the ears pinned back. He was always going to go long. Had to pull the kick short. but just blazed away to, again, where the West Coast had the numbers.
Barry, you're at grad level?
Yeah, it's really feeling the pinch both sides down here. 60% of the time they get the footy, both of these sides they're playing on. So it shows you the phonetic pace of this game, and they're really feeling it on the interchange.
And it continues on, Barry. Dixon takes them on, runs hard, kicks to the square. Almost Tom Boyd. Now for Jong. Can't maintain possession. Runs into Shepherd. Goes back. McGovern's there. There's a whistle. High kick. West Coast.
Well, opportunity there for Tom Boyd. He's got to take those, and in time he will, as he puts a little bit of muscle on that frame of his.
That's right, and certainly just didn't have the leg strength just to dispose of his opponent.
That's a great kick too.
We've seen some wonderful kicking so far.
That's an aggressive kick.
And again, as Barry mentioned, they play on.
Oh,
Hearn
here we go.
releases Shuey in traffic, in space, kicks the goal. Again, the transition for the West Coast Eagles.
Great transition, and they got out the back. Cripps actually come off the interchange bench and was running into space as well, so they had a couple of options. Very nice finish from Shuey. But, yeah, the concern here is turnover after that very aggressive kick out the back. So, too easily, a West Coast Eagles midfield is getting out of the back of the defence of the Western Bulldogs and running into space. If you run into space, very hard to stop. So, great play from the Eagles and rewarded again on the scoreboard.
It was wonderful coast-to-coast play, but did you think that Cremery let Hearn go too easy off the mark?
A little bit easily, and I think they'd be concerned about just how much footy Shannon Hearn has got. If Hearn gets 25 possessions, Eagles generally win. McGovern also, he's kicking off that half-back, that full-back line's important.
Hearn with 7 already, Jared.
McGovern with 6.
Yeah, it's big numbers early because we're not even halfway through the quarter. The pace continues.
Centre's open. If it's an aggressive kick, though, no, he pulls it good late.
And he's really late. He managed to do okay in the end to find Picken by hand. Dalhouse provides an option for him. Down the line he goes. Target Cremery. Almost. Good stretch. It might come back to him. He's on the hands and knees. Well done by Dixon. Brown's down big
good,
time.
Actually.
They've already lost Mackenzie in the pre-season.
Let's hope it's a head knock. He's holding his knee. Looks like he's holding his left knee. But the way he went down was a big concern. He was in his contest and just buckles, I think, under him this next one. Yeah, he's hurt it there. That is not a good-looking injury, Jared. I wouldn't have thought.
There.
No, this one. That one. It just buckled there. That is not a good-looking injury. How'd you see that one, Jared? Hard from here, but it was one of those ones that you don't see a big hyperextension or anything.
No, that just looks like the force going through the leg was too much.
Yeah. But that's the function, ACL function, isn't it? Without being too dramatic. That's not a good looking.
He knew straight away, put the arm up straight away. Now we're coming to the stretcher, so this is terrible news for the West Coast Eagles, given they've lost Mackenzie already.
So left leg, this one. Not much in it, just locks there marginally, so little in it. But
and look at his face.
So often see those small ones where there's not a dramatic hit or big twist. They often can be the worst. And not in my field, but
well, it's hard to believe it could be anything else. I think right now he knows what's happened.
Yeah, that is terrible news. For a man who has had his injury problems,
yeah.
Absolutely, and the club's obviously had the problems. You know, Brown's down there is working himself back into the team. Saw their probably greatest ever defender retire last year, and then Mackenzie goes down with an ACL as well. So sincerely hope that's not the case, but it doesn't look good at this stage.
It's just been a litany of whacks to the defence, hasn't it?
Oh, that's right, and I mean, Bo Waters as well, who struggled with that shoulder injury for an extended period of time. Take him out, forced into retirement at the end of last season. And here's the list. Their back 6 that they're missing: Glass, Waters, Mackenzie. Will Schofield's out at the moment with an ankle injury. It is bad news for both the team and the individual.
You're looking at all Australian fullback, All-Australian halfback, and Eric McKenzie, in my view, was the All-Australian fullback, or one of the tall backs last year.
And best and fairest winner last year.
Stiff to not be recognised, got the best and fairest, which is testimony to just what a great season he had. Schofield's a fine player. He's going to be so needed right now, given this looks like a serious injury.
Well, I think,
okay, guys, how do they restructure up here? What do the West Coast do in getting some tall down back?
Well, it's a hard one. I mean, certainly McGovern's back there now, and just looking through the list, it is very hard to find out. They're going to be well and truly undersized down back.
Well, Hearn probably has to play as a tall defender,
back,
so it means they lose the rebound.
Their sub comes on. He's got some height. He's 193, Tom Lee.
Yeah, he's more a high half forward.
Half forward, yeah.
An extremely good athlete, so you probably have him at centre half back. You wouldn't want to push him deep defence, but we saw Mitch Brown just before there, and I think he's resigned to the fact that he's had a serious knee injury. And the thing you tend to know in these situations, the lack of stability through the knee, and although the pain quite often goes, there's probably no pain right now.
It's described by some as all or nothing. You get this massive amount of pain at the time where a ligament snaps, and then all of a sudden 10 minutes later there's no pain. You can get up and you can walk off the ground. We see that often. We saw with Eric McKenzie, for instance, not so long ago.
Well, certainly I've firsthand seen a couple of players run the boundary line, think they're going to come back on, only for it to buckle once they go back on. So, I mean, not good news for that man, but yeah, certainly feel for Mitch Brown. Has done it pretty tough in recent times with the injuries.
And in the coach's box, you saw Adam Simpson. It'll be like a knife in the guts, but he knows that there's a game that needs to be won here, and he'll be looking for Shannon Hearn. He'll be looking for Elliot Yeo to play tall.
Yeah, I think that's the key. Elliot Yeo has to. At the moment, he's got Cramery.
Well, he's got the running power to go with Cramery. Cramery, when he's had a few games in the match practice games, he'll play a fair bit of time in the middle. So I think they'd like to see Yeo play through the midfield as well. So that's not a bad matchup.
So it was a frenetic pace. The players have had a breather now with Brown's injury. The West Coast certainly had the momentum. The Dogs yet to score. McRae to Boyd.
The bloke who hasn't had it yet's Bontempelli. He's being well held.
And that man is Selwood. Has got the job. And he's back into it. Bontempelli over the top of him.
It's fair to say they've been planning that matchup for a few weeks now, and that was reinforced with that first quarter Bontempelli had in NAB 3 against Collingwood with 15 disposals. They set Selwood for that matchup.
From the ball up, Wallace first to it for the Western Bulldogs. Selwood letting Bontempelli know that he's there.
Now, conversely for the Bulldogs, they need to capitalise on a big height advantage, because this actually could be worse for them if they're not marking the ball.
That's true, but I mean, Tom Boyd is the height. Jack Redpath is the height, and they've got less than 50 games between them, so they're inexperienced. Maybe Minson can go down there, but I guess the Eagles can go the other end of the ground as well. But there's a stage here for one of these tools to actually jump on top of and dominate.
Well, they won't get too many better opportunities than tonight. The 50-metre penalty. Liam Picken will go to the goal square, and I reckon he's pretty happy with that. The Bulldogs players need to clear out of this. They don't want this reversed at all. They've got the 50 and the lay down was their goal.
Classic Liam Picken, the tackle, by the way. Wonderful tackle. Won the free kick on Sheed. Now he kicks the goal. And so from the stopping play, the Bulldogs get the first back.
And he's one of those players, a real barometer with Dow House, the tackling pressure. He's a player that can set about locking down on a player, whether that through the midfield or, as we've seen in recent times as well, as a defensive forward as well. So very good pressure to convert that into a goal.
Well, she's been a frenetic opening half quarter. Some fantastic footy played. There's potentially a match winner yet to touch the leather. But despite the magnificent display of footy and the fast footy, everybody, I think, is saddened by the fact that one young bloke's season appears to be over.
Devastating news. There is no doubt about that at all. But you're right. From the coach's box of both teams, they need to put that aside at the moment and deal with what's out there. And certainly the Bulldogs need to continue to back up.
It was a nice flip back there by Natanui to Pritis, but Pritis is being mauled in there at the moment, and why wouldn't he be?
Boyd, he just changed his mind as he went to kick.
Oh, he's lucky to get
Very lucky to get a free kick there.
He just dropped the ball.
Yeah, he's Murphy. the burst. Penetrating kick. Long ball. Stringer is up and down. Hearn reads it best. Shepherd is swamped. 1, 2. There's a kennel of Bulldogs there. Stringer again. Might be a free kick for too high, and he does.
Yeah, it's just a little bit high. He just dropped his head at the time that the skipper, Shannon Hearn, came in. So a good couple of minutes, and once again, it is ill discipline from the West Coast Eagles players not to know that Robert Murphy is going to come off. Every time Matt Boyd gets the ball, he's not going to want to kick it. Kicking's not his greatest strength. He'll want to give it to Rob Murphy to launch into the forward line.
And that's when they'll play good football, is when Murphy's got it in his hand from centre back to the centre-half back line.
1.5 goals a game last season. Started to look really dangerous towards the end of 2014. Here's Stringer for his first shot for this season. 2 in a row to the Western Bulldogs. 1-point ball game.
Good work from Stringer to get in low, draw the free kick. I wasn't overly happy with the fact that he went as a third up jumper, because you had your 2 bigs there already and he's come over the back. But the reality is he had stayed in the contest, just drops the left shoulder. Hearn goes slightly high across that shoulder, draws the free kick. So the free kick was there.
Yeah, I think it could be easier. If I was him, I'd have it on my locker. No more second Stringer.
Stringer with the goal, and from the break, 2 very quick goals to the Bulldogs, so there has been a momentum swing. Back in the middle, it's Minson up against Nat Nui. Nick Nat was trying to find Selwood on the way through. Manages to lay the tackle on Minson. Wallace on the up, nice handball to Wood. He gets underneath it. Tough one to mark, but they all converge. Crummer needed. Look at the pace from Dalhouse. Front and square, comes through. No one to handball to. Goes himself, goes again. Runs into 2 Eagles, ball up.
How quick is the footy at the moment?
Oh,
it's fantastic, isn't it?
It is lightning, and although they have got 2 and 3 forwards going for the ball, as we saw in that situation, there's a wave. We see Ling John coming through, Dalhouse coming through. They're all hitting the pack.
Stringer caught, good tackle. Want to get rid of it. Ball up, plenty of players around the ball. Forward 50 for the Bulldogs.
So you can see there is a predictability of the ball movement into the forward 50, and there's just a massive midfielders hitting the front.
There's John Minson through his legs. Marston, Rosa, he's caught. Quick kick from Goods. It squeezes out to the left. It'll sit for Yo. And he clears nicely.
That's a great kick.
It's a beautiful pass to Lacroix. Again, it's an open forward line. West Coast want to move it quickly. Lacroix closed down by Morris, forced to go back. Gaff goes a long way back, and the Bulldogs have closed it.
It's got the corridor open though.
McGovern.
It was better from the Bulldogs, the fact they covered the first one. Now it's hit the ground, put pressures on the West Coast.
He's got enough time though, Hearn, just to spot up the man in the pocket.
Shepherd again is free up the middle. This time they elected it. She's they're aggressive from defence at the moment, the Eagles.
Shuey. Morris saw Wellingham coming. In slides Goods, and he wins the free kick because he got there first.
Well, that could go either way. You could think the legs could have been taken there as well.
Goods. Quickly. Ball at ground level. Dalhouse.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see the replay of that one. My initial thoughts were it was going to go against the Western Bulldogs for the slide, or
I was with you.
endangering the legs of the oncoming Eagles.
Let's choose to go to ground here.
No, I reckon that's okay. The Shepherd goes to ground and hits him on the hip.
We'll agree to differ.
Well, we can do that.
Minson doing a good job just blocking Nat Nui getting a run at it.
Yo can't get free. Wallace quick hands. Cramry just a half a fumble. Could be costly. It is. He doesn't quite make it. 3 on 2. Hearn, John. Hearn's got him. John can't get the ball free.
He is doing a power of work, Shannon Hearn. He's given away a free kick, ended up in a goal, but the skipper is having an absolute blinder in the first quarter. He has set up a couple of shots. He's had 9 possessions. Boyd also at 9 across half back line for the Dogs.
As you can see, as we expected, boys, Tom Lamb has come on. Pick 33 from the Dandenong Stingrays, going in for his first game, so good luck to the young man.
He's about to enter the arena. There he is there. Dyson Hipple-like hair. Minson up in the air. That's play on. Nat Nui wanted it the most. Well done. Good hands to Prittis. Breaking for him, Gaff. Dixon comes and gets him. Gaff over the top of the hands. Well taken by Selwood. It was a hard one, but he got it clean. Off the left boot, he pushes it out in front of McGinnity. And the boundary gets there first.
Well, it was a nice grab from Nat Nui and a lay-off, and then good disposal till they found the boundary line. And 5 minutes ago, Baz, they would be doing it tough. How about the guys coming off the interchange?
Yeah, still blowing. And look, it's round one. We know it's pretty hard to emulate this sort of intensity, but geez, they're feeling the pinch.
Nice knock by Minson to the kick from Honeychurch. Shepherd is everywhere at the moment. He'll take the kick. No, decides to use the hands over the top. Away through Gaff.
Kicking to a 2-on-1 situation. It's probably poor percentage footy, but they're playing territory.
Quick hands, good handball too by Boyd. Johannesson, Murphy threading the needle. Want to be quick.
Got to stop Murphy.
Wallace likes the handball. Johannesson gets a third chance to go. And he falls over as he gets a handball away. Untidy there from the Western Bulldogs. Cramery. Bontempelli went without it. The Eagles don't. Cripps again. Kennedy a long way from goal. Uses his hands. Now Marston runs. Pushes it to the pocket. A lot of space there for Lacroix. Lacroix steadies. Straightens. Kicks. Delivers. Goal!
On turnover, that was good pressure on that occasion through the middle of the ground from West Coast, caused the turnover, and then on transition into an open forward 50.
Well, it was one of the better passages of play I think the Eagles had produced, and it started with Shuey. Shuey was looking after two men. He was trying to guard Murphy, and he still put some pressure on the ball carrier, which created the pressure of a poor disposal. The Eagles won it back, and then it was just good transition footy. Started with Shuey's work.
That's 3 of their goals all through transition, Jared.
It's been good. Their pressure has been superb, the Eagles, as has the Dogs, and that's why we've got a cracking match at the present time. But I was just really pleased with the double effort of Luke Shuey, whose work on that half forward through to the middle in defence was set a standard that, if it's met by everyone else, will prove hard to beat.
Picken, unusual disposal, but it went his way. Boyd, the contest. Goods off the ground. Stringer trying to get rid of Yo, runs into Wallace. Yo goes again for a second effort, flips it out the back, and they converge, and now we'll have a ball up.
And this essentially is where the game's being played. So the defensive pressure in the forward half for the Bulldogs. They've got 7 forward 50 tackles to the West Coast 2, but it's when the West Coast get clean ball out of this area, they cut through.
Honeychurch wants a free kick, gets it. So it's again a similarity for the Western Bulldogs. They get a free kick in that congested area to have a chance to kick a goal.
And putting big numbers around the contest, they're confident enough to push big numbers up on the ball, knowing that at times they'll get hurt on the way back, but they're backing themselves in at the moment to get enough clean ball to hurt the West Coast on the scoreboard.
Only played the 3 games last year in his debut season, kicked 1 goal, so he'll be a tad nervous. It's not a difficult kick. 20 metres out, kicks truly. 3 goals apiece.
Well, it's been a great game of footy.
I agree totally. It's been a classic round 1 intensity. The pace is really high. There's a few skill errors, but I think both coaches would be content with the way their players are throwing themselves at the contest, putting their head over the ball and using the ball when finding the space. There's not a lot of space out there, and certainly West Coast have capitalised on that more than the Dogs, but here, again, big wave coming through.
And the Eagles have got an interesting setup at this centre bounce there. Forwards, every one of them is right up the ground.
Yeah, they've got big,
the big pack.
Big pack at centre forward.
Where all their goals have been pretty much running back towards goal. So they're prepared to leave the space out the back.
John on top of Shuey. Prittis wanted it out the back. Selwood, very clean pick up again. Wellingham by hand. Prittis kept going, gets it from Gaff. He's on his left. He kicks long again. It's a one-on-one situation. Nat Nui spoils a good one from Roughhead. Cromer needed. Nat Nui will get there first. Needs some help though. Got a call out from Lamb, his first possession in AFL footy. McRae, pressure here for Wood. They're not out of trouble yet, the Bulldogs. Wood. Kick is a tough one for Honeychurch, who had a good spoil, comes in from Shepherd.
And just to reinforce what we were saying before, all goals on the ground for both teams has been generated from the forward half of the Western Bulldogs.
Yeah. So this a little bit different. We're at the other end. We're right on the 50 for the Eagles. Lysette couldn't take it. Bontempelli's first disposal. Spirals it towards the boundary. Hearn. This will be disposal number 10 for the skipper.
If you're looking for the switch, just try to get out to the far
Big
side.
match-up this one, Lynchy. Stringer and Hearn.
Really important one. And that's why it's important. Oh, he's stiff there, I would have thought.
Yeah.
Stringer needs to impact the scoreboard, which he's done.
Nelson, he's lucky to get the free kick,
He had
but he
the
got
full
away with
Nelson.
it.
It was half Nelson, at least a clip around the ear holes.
It was a corner Nelson at most. He switches quickly. Marston and Yo. Cripps the target, next in line. He's going to have to go back to Marston, maybe Nelson.
Well, this is
Off
where
his
they've got
line.
their extra. They've got the spare back. Just got to use him.
I like the umpire calling play on. Quickly get this thing going. It's been good with the everyone watching at home doesn't want to see chips across the half-back line. Get on with it.
You reckon the umpire's just umpiring to the audience?
Get on with it. It's good for footy.
Wellingham again to Yo. He wants to go quickly. Marston. They haven't gone far yet, the Eagles. They've found one in the corridor here.
Could still come out this near side.
They've been pretty
Hearn's the
disciplined though, the Dogs.
Rosa is in some space. Got him. Butler. Lamb wants it. Goes longer. Spoil comes. Morris to tidy up. Pickens got some pressure. Got some issues. Has to go back. They'll probably want the boundary here, the Bulldogs. And Lamb makes sure they get it.
Yeah, good tackle from Lamb.
I'll tell you what, you look for differences when you see a side that's had a summer break to work on weaknesses. The one thing I see the Eagles doing really well is aggressive kicking up the middle of the ground. Lynchy just from deep in defence. We saw McGovern. We've seen Hearn. And again on that occasion, just picking a bloke out in between three dogs and being confident in your kicking skills to hit him on the chest.
Hard to get free here. Both teams. Ball up. Inside. Well, just over a minute remaining this first quarter.
Just get a look at Selwood, Beatty. Yep.
Just see the correspondence between the umpires there. Keep an eye on Selwood. He's got a big job on Bontempelli. Such an inexperienced player in Bontempelli. Game 17, I think it is, but still a very important player.
Well, this was always going to come for the Bont, and this will be a real test for him. It's early, but he's a significant star. So getting a kick with somebody who's out there just to stop you getting a kick completely is his want in life for the next 10
Well,
years.
it's early because Griffin and Liberatore have gone. This doesn't help.
Again, pressure from both teams. Very hard to get free. Selwood gets Bontempelli. Rosa, like a rugby maul, tries to duck through. Wallace is at it hard. Joel extracts it, gets it, and kicks it long. They've got time for one more here. Big pack forms. Man staying down with Shepherd. Goes to ground in the second effort. Through McGovern's leg. Now a chance for the Bulldogs. Stringer with strength and uses Wallace. He's got a man forward. He spots him around the corner. Dalhouse, 2-on-1. Still a chance for Dixon.
Oh, there's legs.
It looked like it. Going in was Gaff. Dalhouse again. Oh, something from nothing from Luke Dalhouse. Bingo!
I think Adam Simpson will be filthy with that one. They had 2 or 3 chances there to kill that ball, and the Dogs just kept on putting the pressure on. And Luke Dalhouse, as you rightly said, Matthew, he just found a way. Here it is. Here's one chance.
And
That's a drop mark.
Free kick as well.
That was a free kick.
Yeah,
Yes, sliding
absolutely
in.
a free kick.
Here's another chance where they had the ball. Just need to kill it there, but to allow a bloke to pull it out of that pack and snap round his shoulder is something I reckon the defensive coach will have a look at. Should have been a free kick for sure.
That was extremely dangerous. Great to see Dalhouse get involved again. He's been very good through the pre-season. 7 disposals now for this first term. They've got live wires up there. They've just got to keep the pressure up.
So final seconds of the first quarter. The Bulldogs have wrested the lead here. 4 goals of the last 5. Siren sounds. What a first quarter. What a start to the season. The fans have turned up here at Etihad Stadium. The players are continuing on. Their adrenaline's still pumping. But a sensational start. Nothing in this match. 4 goals to the Bulldogs. 3 goals, 1 to the West Coast Eagles. 5-point game. 2015 is alive and well. Well, there was plenty of excitement in the first quarter between these two teams. The Bulldogs really worked hard for their goals. They scrapped for it, they found it, they won free kicks, and they won the footy like that. Luke Dalhouse over his shoulder, wonderful goal, wonderful snap, and it put them in front right before quarter time after the West Coast Eagles kicked the first couple. But the pace was frenetic, unfortunately for the West Coast Eagles. Mitch Brown down with a knee injury. But the story at quarter time is a 5-point lead to the Bulldogs. Single goals everywhere. And the West Coast Eagles have had plenty of the football. Marston and Hearn very busy indeed. And Matthew Boyd, as always, getting plenty of possession for the Bulldogs. Certainly if you're watching the NAB Challenge and you thought, well, what's been going on? It was slow motion compared to what we saw in that first quarter. But let's find out what's happening in the Bulldogs camp. Daniel Giacusa is with Barry Hall.
Yeah, thanks, Matty. Well, a pretty good start to the quarter. The pressure's been fantastic. 10 forward 50 tackles. It's been fantastic.
Yeah, and something we want to pride ourselves on. A bit scratchy early, but once we got into the game and put that pressure on, we saw that they coughed it up and we got the scoring shots that we wanted.
A couple of times they did get out the back, though, in transition, and that was the main reason they scored.
Yeah, they're getting up high, so we've just got to be aware of that they try to open up that space for their forwards who are really dangerous.
And Hearn, is there any instruction there? He's had 10 possessions that quarter.
Yeah.
It's such a danger flyer.
Yeah, someone we've got to watch because he's obviously quite penetrating well and can get it over the back. So we'll keep an eye on it and we might do something as we go along.
Good luck.
Cheers, mate.
The big issue for the Dogs, I think, is what do they do with Marcus Bontempelli? And the size that Bontempelli has means that he can almost do a direct swap with Stringer, just to put him Stringer up the middle, and he can play midfield, he can play higher up the ground, and Bontempelli can play deep in the goal square. Now, he's not just going to abandon his setup and strategies, he's going to take the challenge up to this kid. But if this continues, and it's a really tough thing to learn to be able to do, is to win the ball when you've got somebody that you're piggybacking around for the rest of the night, maybe just to give him a chop out, stick him on a wing, stick him in the forward pocket, goal square, whatever. He's got the talent.
That's right. It's only for a 4 or 5 minute stint, then get him back into the middle of the ground. But he has got one of the better stoppers in the competition on him, so he will start in the middle and he'll work through what has been a really tough first quarter for him. But great to see the Dogs going well. Contested possessions, they're plus 10 over the West Coast Eagles.
And they're plus 5 on the scoreboard, Alistair, as the second quarter gets underway. Lycett and Minson. Minson takes it out of the air with one hand, throws it on the left. Here comes Dalhouse, but the ball comes out of his hands. McGovern smothered by Tom Boyd. Goes again, Tom Boyd. This time the smothered Dalhouse. Now he's got some room to move. Gets the 1-2 from Picken. Off the right boot, measures it to McRae. Well done, Western Bulldogs.
Well, McRae is the one that they're not putting the time into. They're going a little bit wide of him. They're getting plenty of their possessions. With Shuey, Predis, etc., getting big numbers, but McRae is doing the damage without a leg rope at this stage for the Dogs.
And notably, this is their first mark inside forward 50 for the game.
Well, we've seen Picken, Honeychurch from free kicks, kick truly. McRae, close, not close enough. It's Boyd. Well, he runs it over the line.
Everything bar kick the goal, big Tom Boyd. But that's the thing, it's not about marking the ball inside forward 50. If any marks, he's a fair chunk of that to start with. Just couldn't get the left toe onto that one. But yeah, it'd be more run and carry and hit the front of those packs.
Straight down the guts from Hearn, all the way to Natanui. Now Rosa, here they go again. They could keep moving on. McCrae can turn around. He's got a runner. Shuey, well, he somehow got past Goods. He's kicked the goal, I think, but that's coast to coast again for the West Coast Eagles.
Brilliant play by the Eagles.
They torched a few players forward of the ball as well, but they got there.
I think LeCroix was entitled actually just to go back and have a shot, but he did handball it. But let's have a look at this. It's Shannon Hearn again. He's just so dangerous. Clearly he's going for Natanui. Natanui really just gave a contest. Well roved. And that's twice, I think, that they've been exposed, the Dogs, just because they have not been 100% switched on.
Outstanding stuff.
And we saw on that vision there, I think it was Shepherd also was out of screen, left of screen, and could have got the ball as well. But great play. That was an 80-metre kick by the time he chipped to himself to start with from that kick out.
And scores a level. Bontempelli into the game now. Rows it from Natanui. Has a bounce. Kicks long. No tools there for the Bulldogs. Here comes one. He's going to get it. Boyd gets it from Picken. And Tom Boyd a little bit too much on it. Curls it around. We might have a boundary throw, and we do.
Well, ironically, Bontempelli got his first possession. spoon-fed by Nick Natanui. Just read it beautifully.
So the Dogs have set up here. They're all one-on-ones. Not a lot of room to move. And we'll have a ball up.
So repeat stoppages is a win. We talk about, repeat forward 50 entries from pressure, but also if you can cause multiple stoppages, put pressure on the defence.
Bontempelli with a tackle on Yo, and we'll have a rush behind anyway.
And that's actually a win for West Coast. Now they gain possession, and this man, Shannon Hearn, has the ball in hand.
Hard running from Lacroix. He's still going. He's running all the way across the ground. Still going, Lacroix.
Did well. They opened up some spaces. They've put in the mind of the Western Bulldogs they've got to defend deep, which is open up some holes in the shorter kicking department.
You don't see that often. That's a shank.
Yeah, from Hearn. You don't see that very often at all, but they've still got numbers though, West Coast. Prudis with time. Floats it up high. A couple of players go down. They both appeal for the free kick, but the man with the ball was Shuey. He's gone. That's holding the ball.
Dale Morris has been doing it for over a decade now for the Dogs.
The glove.
Gobbling up forwards and think they've got him.
Just think he's not overly quick. I'll get away from him, but he seems to close in quickly.
In comes Shepherd. Wanted it the most. Read it nicely.
Did well, actually. Changed his mind right in time. Had a good start.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
Great awareness of what was around him. Big switch might be on. He's going to have to run 5 metres, though. He's got to go now quick.
Rosa goes the long option.
Now they're away.
Butler. Next in the queue, Yo.
Shuey again. He just loves getting in that side. And it wasn't Shuey this time. It was Cripps getting inside the corridor.
And he spots a man on his own. That's a lot of space inside the centre square for Rosa. In turn, he spots up Marston. He's going to go to the top of the square. Lysette. And that's again. And Lysette plays on, takes on Minson, kicks the goal, and the Eagles are back in front.
Well, that was great ball use, and then at the end it was really disappointing stuff. Luke Beveridge would be really disappointed in that lack of manning of the mark there deep, but great use to go around, to take time and space away from the Western Bulldogs. Chip it around, and then when they had the ability to go quick, get it in quick.
It was a gutsy kick. They've been courageous with their kicking all night, and they're getting away with it at the moment.
Precision passing by the Eagles ends up with that goal for Scott Lysette.
But that's probably 2 goals now. That one with Will Minson. Lactic acid, I'd say, running through his brain at that stage, but just wasn't 100% switched on. He was thinking about the next contest rather than guarding the mark.
Bulldogs forward this time. There's a hold there.
Well, that's a couple of drop marks that just can't be dropped. One from Elliot Yo. They got away with that one, and Matt Rose across from the goal just before quarter time with a similar drop mark.
Again, Marston on the way out. Here is the man you just spoke of, Matt Rosa. Chipping and presenting for him was Sheed, but he doesn't mark it. Johannesson needs to give it. He does. Picken accelerates, brings Bontempelli into it. Again, he goes long. Again, string of the target. Cromer needed for the Western Bulldogs. First towards Shepherd. Wants the free kick. Didn't get it. Ball comes out to Yo. Marston closed down. Speed. Honeychurch can't get past Butler. He's gone.
Great tackle from Butler.
Suicidal handball there that put Marston under pressure. But that was just a nailing tackle.
Minson, Big Will, did okay. Gave it over to Honeychurch. He hooks the kick. Stringers at the back. So too was Redpath. Hits the post. Boundary throw-in. Eagles by 5 points. That was the margin at quarter time, but it was the Bulldogs who were in front. Oh, Rose's handball was a hot one. Hearn, well, he just did the only thing he could, rushed it behind. He didn't know it was going to come to his feet.
He just wanted to miss out on hitting that point post as well, so it wasn't a boundary throw-in.
I've got Lacroix. He's looking for the long play. He's 30 metres deep, but no one on him.
Shepherd might be the go here. No.
Marsden getting plenty of it.
Here goes Lacroix. Look out for Lacroix if they can get the next kick. Well defended by the Dogs. They went wide.
Well, they still have Kennedy, though. And he looks into the middle. Risky kick for McGovern. He did well, did really well. He's got to go twice. Oh, indecision, and they might still win the free kick.
Yeah, high from Liam Pickin. But again, we're just sort of wave off half back from West Coast Eagles players. Just a high energy game at the moment.
McGinnity will just short it out to Rosa. He's got 20 metres on his own. He can assess what the next option should be, and he pops it over to Butler. We've seen them do this a few times.
Well, they haven't been just bombing long. They may get forced to in the end, but they've been pretty professional the way they've chipped it around. He wants to chip it around, but in the end forced to the corridor.
Well, he's forced it wide. It was 3 Bulldogs there, so not a good kick in the end.
No, it might get reinforced from the coach. We don't do that.
Honeychurch ran into trouble. Bontempelli, that's special. Picked it up nicely, and away he goes. And he kicks it long. Over the back he goes. A bounce here for Stringer. He's under pressure. He gets his boot to ball. Just to behind.
Exciting play, though. This is just brilliant footy up and down. Not sure if they can keep up this pace.
I'm sure they can't.
But I'm loving the courage of both sides. I think in particular at the moment the Eagles with their... I guess these sort of kicks down the middle of the ground, they are playing as direct football as I've seen from an Eagles side for a long, long time. They're getting away with it.
It's clear what both teams are trying to do.
And they're kicking at a high percentage, Jared. 79% efficiency. Shuey's kick. There's Lacroix. He'll give it off. Kennedy will give it off. Could have given it off to Lamb, but he decides to take it himself.
It's pretty clear how they're trying to set up. They are getting guys up the ground. They're trying to find one of their forwards who's empty or unattached, and at this stage they are doing it pretty well here, the West Coast Eagles, just starting to get a little bit of a break. And there you see Lin Jong just caught in 2 minds, and really good team football there by the Eagles.
Well, it's just such a high energy game that the Western Bulldogs are trying to sustain. It's whether you can sustain it for a long period of time is the issue.
That's 3 in a row for the West Coast Eagles. Let's just get down to Barry Hall quickly.
I think West Coast defence has been absolutely outstanding. We thought they'd struggle with the tools down to the Bulldogs forward line, but they've launched most of their attacks from the defence. Hearns had 14, Yo's had 12, McGovern's had 12. They're launching all their attacks from defence.
Pressure now on the Western Bulldogs to reply here. Johannesen has to go. Didn't complete the mark. Could be costly.
Oh, out the back again.
Sheed caught. Tackle was a good one from Roughhead, and Johannesen owes him one.
Just to continue on what Baz was saying about the big forwards for the Western Bulldogs, the problem is, and we spoke about it in the first quarter, unless there's really good pressure on the ground, they can get rebounded against real easily.
Advantage taken by Cripps, and they bang through another goal. That's 4 in a row, West Coast.
Well, I think it was only a matter of time before Will Minson got pinged, either for looking at the man and not the ball at the centre clearance, or grappling and trying to lock up Nat Nui. He's done it really well so far and not given away a free kick. Let's take a look here.
You're right, he has been good to keep Nat Nui grounded, but he's grabbed hold of him in both hands there.
When you restrict the hand he wants to hit the ball with, it just leaves the umpire with no other choice but to ping you. But, geez, there's a handy advantage.
I think that was the major issue from Will Minson, not so much the free kick, it was the 5-second advantage. And reinforcing modern football, you have to make sure you play the ball, don't play the whistle, continue on.
2 goals to Cripps. He joins Shuey with 2. A little mini break here for West Coast, and they win another free kick. It's Shuey again. And that's courage, or that's just confidence to give it over to Nelson. Wood on Lamb. Handball, a tough one for Dixon. Pressure from the West Coast. Turnover could be coming here. They're really under the pump, the Bulldogs. McRae steps through some traffic. They're going backwards. Johannesen, Boyd, smothers a beauty. Look at this, West Coast. They're still going. Lacroix just can't get free. Got half a boot to it. McRae again. Fished it out. Murphy.
Well, Murphy has been brilliantly held in this quarter by McGinnity. That's just his second possession, and he was one of the stars in the first quarter.
Cramery was a tough one to mark, the kick from Roughhead, and that's tapped to the line. Surely that's deliberate, but it won't be.
I think at this stage of round 1 they'll let that one go because everyone's very tired. But yeah, we spoke pre-game with Adam Simpson about the important players for the Western Bulldogs, and he's certainly locked down on Bontempelli and he's locked down on Murphy, two real keys.
They just haven't had enough of the ball though in this term. The Dogs, their midfield winners have been a bit starved. Bontempelli's had the most possessions in this term, and it hasn't been many. They're 18 possessions down, 30 to 48 in this term. Boyd's had 3, Bontempelli's had 3, just a number of 3, so they're just not winning the ball.
The concern at what stage, and I'm not thinking they will do it anytime soon, but that's when the Boyd-Redpath combination may become an issue.
Well, between them, they really had no impact whatsoever, have they? Two possessions between them.
None at all. So, I mean, I know it's an investment in the future.
Wallace is free. They haven't spotted him yet. Now they're going to run out of room for him. He's still going, but the long kick comes up towards Boyd, and there's a push.
Very obvious push, just out under the ball. But again, that's with the big young forwards just out of position. So we see here Boyd just eases McGovern with a hand in the back in the marking contest. So that was clearly displayed in front of the umpire.
Terrible kick on the way out from McGovern. Now Wood can get home from here, but has he got the confidence to just go back and slot the goal?
Good defence by the Dogs. Poor kick from McGovern, obviously, but you're going to if you're going to live by the sword, you're going to occasionally get a few slashes by the sword, and on that occasion it bit them.
4 goals in a row to the West Coast in this quarter. A chance here to get one back on the reverse angle. Eastonwood just inside 50, strikes it nicely, splits the middle, and the margin back to 9 points.
Pressure that's generated a goal from a turnover or a free kick has been the major asset of the Western Bulldogs. Just haven't been able to sustain that pressure for this quarter, and West Coast have been able to cut through them. But on that occasion, poor kick from McGovern, just didn't move forward, and once again there's a very handy little turnover that's been rewarded on the scoreboard. Well done from Wood to go back and kick that one from 45 on a 45-degree angle.
Just the goal stopping a little bit of momentum there, and just edges them a little bit closer.
Boyd into the ruck, trying to get him to get some leather on the hands.
Bounce does favour Natanui, but Boyd comes through and he's going to win a possession. Just got his hand to it in time. Dalhouse, high ball up. Hearn ricochets back towards Bontempelli. First to it, Yo. Going to take them on. Luckily got the handball away in time. Wallace, it spills for Natanui. He can't get free of Honeychurch. Selwood, Pritis, away go the West Coast.
Here's the wave again.
Yep, they've got runners. Wellingham chipping into the middle. Shuey, Hearn can go all the way to the goal square. He will do that. He spots Lamb with a bit of room. Wood got back, spoils towards the boundary. Lacroix there, bounce favouring the Eagles in Sheed. Sheed's wrapped up. Wood again on hands and knees, can't get free. Morris throws it on the boot, wants the boundary, and the professional defender finds it.
No, they're setting up. They've got a player behind the ball, West Coast, and they're running through in waves. It's an exciting brand of football.
Yeah, what's the most taxing way, boys? Which one's playing the most taxing time? Because the frantic nature of this game, I think fatigue's going to play its part in the second half.
I think they're both playing pretty similar footy in some ways. It's all based around harassment and chasing, and then run and gun when you get it. So I think they're both going to be looking for the oxygen.
They're overdoing it here. The Bulldogs had a lot of handballs, and finally Dalhouse kicks it. He spots a man out wide in Honeychurch. Bontempelli helps out. Hand in there first though from Shepherd. Cuts it off. Bontempelli again. Advantage should be paid. It is. Away goes Stringer. His kick around the body. Gets plenty on it. Bang! Another goal for the Western Bulldogs.
Big fan of this kid. He has got enormous talent, Lynchy. He can, as you see there, just kick them from all angles under all sorts of pressure. He's got an innate sense where the goals are. And this is one that they're a little bit stiff. He did drop it after having no prior opportunity, but that seems to have gone now. But that is a huge kick.
It's a massive kick. Great pressure again on the ball carrier. A little turnover there, but got the ball back very quickly and converted their opportunities.
The frantic pace continues. There's Jake Stringer with his second. I mentioned he kicked some goals towards the end of last year. 4 bags of 4.
Yep. Exciting talent. He's a player on the up.
His defensive work, like work rate appears really good as well, which is important.
Margin back to 3. Shuey. Selwood has a little bit of time to move, and Spot Lamb on a long lead. Stays on his feet. Bangs it forward. Clever play. Kennedy and Roughhead. Handball by Boyd is a good one to McRae, and they get out of trouble here. The Bulldogs. Dixon on the chest.
As Baz was talking about work rate from both teams, I actually think the Bulldogs have to work a lot harder for their goals. They're not getting the easy goals out over the back, which West Coast have been able to do on a couple of occasions. So I think this is a very taxing game plan. They've designed it around the assets they have, obviously, but yeah, high demand.
McRae's ball, Natanui's up, couldn't quite take it. Front and square, Crumming, Jong uses Honeychurch. The young Bulldogs combine. Honeychurch to 40 metres, floats it across. It's a poor kick. It's still alive though for Picken, and taken over the line by Butler.
Well, drop marks have cost the Eagles 2 goals, and that one from Natanui nearly cost them another. But gee, mistakes are being preyed on by both sides at the moment. It's high pressure footy.
From the throw-in, Bontempelli, no room to move. Just got the handball out. Honeychurch goes down low. Shepherd there, and we're 30 metres out, directly in front of the Western Bulldogs goal. They're down by 3. Nick Nat wins it easy. No one there to take it though. Picken overruns it. Jong. The little terrier tries to get through.
There's a real science there. You can see young Brad Shepherd trying not to drag the ball in, but trying to put a hand on it and kill it.
But again, another stoppage in the forward 50 for the Bulldogs. This is what they want, build the pressure, but they just can't let the soft exit go.
Stringer with a strong exit, Alistair. And the smother kick falls for Wallace. By hand, McRae's on the right side, wonderful smother gaff. And he gets a quick handball from McGovern. And the West Coast will break. Kennedy.
Gee, that's good play.
The
Look at the work
pass.
right now.
With the game being played in tight, the smother is just becoming such an essential part of footy. Sides that do it are far greater to harder to beat than those that don't do it well.
Lamb, clever handball to Cripps. Advantage paid. He got pushed in the back as he got rid of it. Up it goes towards Wellingham. Howlett bounce. Here's Lacrae's pushed in the back. Lacrae. It still comes towards Wellingham. The cavalry arrives in Murphy. Lysette overruns it. There's Bulldogs coming from everywhere. And they swamp him.
Wasn't Lysette's go to get it off the ground and quickly onto the slipper. But Wellingham was on this near side wing. He ran 100 metres by himself, but just couldn't get on the end of the ball.
Bulldogs ahead in the tackle count. They've had to be. Big punch out. Honeychurch takes it cleanly and accelerates away.
It's been really good.
He takes on Prittis. He says, "You can't catch me," and away he goes. Now it's one-on-one. Kick out in front of Stringer. It's a good pass, and he takes it well. He's got to wait.
That was great play from Honeychurch because he waited for Stringer to get into space before he hit him with a really good pass. Now, outnumbered long, 3-1. They've got to be patient. They have to go short, otherwise they're going to turn over.
He's got to just chip it back.
Yeah, had no
Got a
choice
couple in the
there.
middle.
Fans sometimes get frustrated by this, but you just couldn't blaze away into the forward 50.
Big switch. There's a man over the top if he spots him, and he does. So Talia's kick is now the loose man over to Boyd. Roughhead. Oh, that's a one-on-one. That's a tough one for Dixon. He lays the tackle, but West Coast do well to get out of trouble. Kennedy to Prittis. Short ball in the middle. Lacrae has a man wide. Murphy came off the bench to close it down. McGovern caught. Handball a little bit strong. Roughhead goes down, just tries to paddle it towards Morris. Numbers went out for the Bulldogs. Jong. Long ball out in front of Redpath. Nelson comes at him. Redpath down, up, boot to ball. Not too bad in the end. Wallace almost a mark. Kept it alive. Again, the intensity great from both teams. Again, it's a ball up inside the Western Bulldogs forward 50.
Well, they did well to get it back there to Western Bulldogs because Lacrae had the ball in his hands, elected to handball off, overused the ball for mine, but I think it's so much fatigue at the present time. There'll be nothing wrong with just grabbing the ball and just letting people in your team recover.
Big Redpath going to have a shot for goal, but high contact, and we just saw him have his first possession for the day 30 seconds ago. Now he's going to have the opportunity to have his first shot at goal.
Been pretty impressive in the NAB challenge.
Well, I think he shows that he is a big forward that can draw the ball. It's going to take plenty of time. It's only his 4th game of AFL football, so they're going to be very patient with him, but he can't just be one-dimensional. Just can't rely on overhead marks.
Big Jack Redpath to put the Bulldogs back in front after the West Coast broke out to a 15-point lead. Tight angle, only 25 metres the kick. If you're a big forward, that's how you do it.
And if you're not going to get many opportunities to have a shot at goal, you've got to make the most of him, because he'd be the one that's just starting to think about in the coach's box at the moment. We'll probably pull this up first 5 or 10 minutes into the third quarter. Redpath will be the one in the gun at the moment, so he gets a chance through a free kick. He's got to go back and slot it and continue what he's doing. That's making a pretty good contest when the ball's in the air, and he's just got to make sure he puts pressure on the ball carrier when West Coast transition out as well. It's a nice shot from the big man. He looks pretty fit this year.
Looks really fit.
I saw him debut down at Simmons Stadium against Geelong. Didn't have a mark that day, but it just looked like he was a presence. Now he's ruck roving now.
He was a big presence back then, and now he's less of a presence and better player for it.
Gee, Minson almost got boot to ball there. They would have been away, the Bulldogs. They've kicked the last 3 after West Coast kicked 4. So the margin is 3 for the home team.
It isn't interesting. We've got Minson and Redpath in here in the ruck, so whether Minson's going to drift off the ground and have a spell on the bench.
No, the top, that was the third up jump. Quick hands from the Eagles. Rosa, Gaff, Shepherd, back to Gaff. Caught on his wrong side, not for long. Rosa. Kennedy, good courage from Wood. He got in the way, made it a 2-on-1 situation. Talia loses it out the back, through Sheed's legs. Lysette, the big man, gets down to pick it up. Cripps turned around, didn't see Johannesson standing there, wraps him up, ball up.
Again, both teams tackling very hard. Not much time and space at all.
Lysette, 2 hands, and then recovers. Minson, pickpocket, steals it off him. Over the top of Dixon. Here comes Crameri, went past it. Nelson. The kick from Marston floats forward for the Eagles. It's a kind bounce for Kennedy, but he's closed down quickly by Roughhead.
It's hard to say the players don't take possession, but if you've got a feeling you're about to be pinged, he could have used that as just a tap over. There was a couple of players going past towards goal. The ruck option was certainly on.
Big Will wins it out of the ruck again. Does enough to get it to the middle of the ground. Crameri takes on Hearn. Hearn just barrels him down the ground. Crameri with a second effort. Drags it in. Got to be careful. It spills out just in time for him. Marston comes in for the West Coast. Over the top of him. Goods.
What about that for a one-on-one? Crameri and Hearn. There was a lot at stake. If somebody gets clean possession, it's a goal either way. And that was a bowling ball. He did well too, Crameri, to get back for the second effort.
Marston at Prittis going past. Handball, McGinnity. Dalhouse gets him. Won by Johannesson, but Minson was under some pressure. Rosa, likewise. Murphy gets him. Minson again. He's the artful dodger at the moment. He's pickpocketing everything. Stringer needs the handball. Does, just in time. Around the corner from Boyd to behind.
He's had a good few minutes here, the big fella.
Will,
Minson.
He has.
Stealing everything.
Big, strong body around the contest. He's a tough one to play on, I would imagine. Looks absolutely exhausted there.
Yeah, he's looking for half-time, Big Will, but he's
mostly been double-teamed by Nick Naitanui and Lysette. Not having too much of a spell on the pine.
Here's Lamb. On debut into the game early. If you joined us late, Mitch Brown down with a knee injury. Looks to be serious. So numbers down back, an issue for the Eagles, but they're doing okay. There's only 4 points in it.
As we saw, big Will Minson just absolutely exhausted there. Lysette went off. Nick Naitanui comes on and just runs into the other side of the ground.
Naitanui over the top there. Sheed, cut off by Crameri. It's clever play. It's a good pickup for a tall man in Roughhead. Johannesson, boot to ball in time. John, got a good step, needs it. Boyd's under pressure. Sheed down low, Bontempelli rolls him over. didn't give away the free kick. And here we are again, Lynchy.
Yeah,
the ball up inside the forward 50.
Forward 50 stoppage. Boyd appeared to be a little unlucky there. It might have been a high contact, but this is where they're working really hard. Labour-intensive effort here.
Marston's getting a stack of the footy.
Yep, 19 disposals now, game high. Clever play by Boyd. Oh, good use of the body by Stringer.
That is really smart body use. Didn't drop his opponent on the ground, just held your position. The momentum of his opponent coming in will
He's got it in
put
him
him in a
too.
good position. Oh, absolutely.
He could sink this.
I don't think he should even consider dishing it off. He
It's
can
a
have a chair.
tough
He's that
angle.
relaxed.
He's moving the chairs.
But you're right, he's one of those goal kickers that can kick these.
Still looking for options, a little glance left. Now, sets his mind on the target and blows it.
You would have pumped him up. He's butchered that one. But he's a very talented player.
Sometimes when you back a roughie and you get a run for your money, you think it's worth it. Well, he gave us no run at all. But it's been exciting this evening.
Nick Nats ready to jump.
Almost a free kick against Minson.
Yeah, umpire saw it.
Yeah, just trying to protect the back of his teammate Bob Murphy, and I think Big Will apologised to Bob as well.
Inside the last minute, that's plenty of time for the West Coast because they do kick goals quickly, but Kennedy just lost his footing just behind play there, so it made it easy.
I think he changed his direction after Lacroix put his head down as well. So the first quarter has actually mirrored the second quarter. The Eagles got off to a fly and the Dogs have pinned them back and should well take a lead to half-time.
You've got 30 seconds to do something here. But the West Coast have got plenty of numbers back to try and slow it down and close up the gaps. Towards the boundary line. It's forced out of play.
It was well done. As we spoke about who was going to stand up with Mitch Brown going off with that knee injury. Elliot Yeo on big Tom Boyd. Just edged his opponent, much bigger opponent, under the ball.
There's a hold there. Could have played advantage there. I'm not saying that it would have been that easy up forward, but
Well, they need every player back the Eagles, and the Dogs need every high jumper they've got underneath this one because they've got basically one kick and mark opportunity.
Well, they haven't marked the ball. They've made one mark in forward 50. It would be criminal against West Coast if they took one here.
shorts it down the line, but the siren and time beats the Bulldogs. But 4 goals to 3 in the first quarter, 4 goals to 3 in the second quarter. Nothing in this game. 4 points is the margin at half-time. It was 5 at quarter time. It's been played at a terrific pace. Enjoyable footy. Half-time here at Etihad. It's the Bulldogs leading by 4.
Half-time at Etihad Stadium, and both sides absolutely exhausted after an hour of hard running, fierce pressure football to kick off season 2015. The Eagles had a lead both in the first quarter and the second quarter, but at this stage, at half-time, they trail by 4 points. 7-5-47, the Bulldogs, to 7-1-43.
It's been an outstanding first half of football, very contrasting game styles from both teams, but very entertaining. The work rate of both teams has been exquisite, the way they've run the ball. We see time in forward half. We spoke about all of the first half has been dominated by the Western Bulldogs, 63%. Contested possessions, plus 15 for the Western Bulldogs. When West Coast won round 1 last year by 65 points, they were plus 35. So contested ball is a real good indicator for them. Uncontested ball, that's probably indicative of West Coast when they find the space, they're getting on the outside and they're really hurting the Bulldogs. So entertaining game at both ends of the field.
Yeah, and inside forward 50s, the Dogs are 8 in to the good.
Yep.
And at this stage, they could well be further in front, but the West Coast has just been far more efficient if it hadn't been for the Dogs' pressure, they, I think, could have even been further in front. But the Dogs' pressure's been first class, and that's what we expected coming here.
Well, that's right, and that's a needs basis. When they go with two very big, inexperienced forwards, the ball's going to hit the ground a bit. They're not going to be able to take clean marks. So at ground level, they must have the intensity. That's the Honeychurch, that's Dalhouse, a number of their smaller players, and certainly another one is Liam Picken, who's basically doing a defensive role in the front half. So that's what they need to do. And their forward 50 tackles, it's 20 to the Western Bulldogs for that first half, to 7 for the West Coast Eagles. So absolutely, I'm sure the coaching box of the Dogs will be very happy with that sort of intensity.
You're happy with the Eagles playing the extra defender? It's been Lacroix at times, it's been Shuey at other times. It's worked well when they've got hold of the ball.
Yeah, I'm really happy with that, because they're trying to open up their forward 50 and transition from deep defence into that forward 50. I think as the game wears on, Josh Kennedy will get involved. They'll take some marks moving up at the ball and presenting. So I think from a West Coast point of view, the +1 across halfback is an asset.
They've got a huge weapon in defence, Shannon Hearn. He's had a lot of the footy. I think he's probably had too much of the footy as far as Luke Beveridge is concerned. But he has launched so many coast-to-coast counter-attacks. It's been exhilarating to watch.
It has, and that's he's one of the certainly the triggers off halfback. We spoke about in the first half. They've been very aggressive into the centre corridor.
That there was one of the most aggressive kicks of the night. It was from McGovern, and it went to their chief kicker in the skipper, and it set up a brilliant goal.
Yeah, and we're not seeing them West Coast congest up the centre corridor. They're like Geelong of a couple of years ago. They run into the corridor, then get out, clear the space, and are prepared to back their skills by foot to hit the target. This is a classic West Coast goal today. Almost butchered it there, but they had numbers forward of the ball and ended up executed a nice shot from 25 metres out.
I think if we had the capacity to see the petrol tank, both are on half empty at this stage, both are on half full.
There's plenty
How
of
do you
dust.
see it unfolding?
Well, I think, and I mentioned just before half-time, I think the Western Bulldogs are playing a more high-intensity game that I'm not sure can be sustained. They need a couple of soft goals, a couple of marks and conversions from 30 metres out, so it's going to be a tight one. I can see the West Coast just kicking ahead late in the game.
Players are having a rest. You're not. You'll be with us straight after the break. We'll be back with more from Etihad. Well, it's all in front of the Western Bulldogs. New coach, new captain, been well held in the second quarter. The new skipper, he'd be liking to get a breakthrough. And in the other rooms, the Eagles know they're halfway there, but just trailing at the present time by 4 points. But if you've just joined us, the shocking news for the West Coast Eagles is that they look to have sustained another very serious injury with Mitch Brown going down.
Yeah, absolutely. After their best and fairest winner from last year, Mackenzie went down with an ACL in the pre-season. Such an innocuous injury. His second last step before this contest, his left knee goes, and so this next step with the left knee slightly buckles, but he knows instantly there is most probably a rupture to a major ligament, and we see a list of injuries down the bottom there with Jack Darwin on the sidelines, Sinclair's out, Will Schofield playing in the waffle coming back from an ankle injury, so they've got a long list of injuries, and this appears to be probably the worst. I'm sure confirmation will come through after a scan, but they'll have a fair idea right now about the stability of the ACL.
Doesn't look good at all, and it's why this match is so important. If you can bank some 4 points, there's a couple of players like Darling and Ellis that will come back in the next few weeks, short-termish if you like. But they have got some serious holes they're going to have to cover for the rest of the year.
Well, that's right. When you have someone like Mackenzie going out on the back of Beau Waters and Darren Glass retiring last year, that was always going to be an issue down back. Mackenzie's the last 2 years has been in fantastic form, so he's gone. And Mitch Brown, who's battled himself with injuries, it's just cruel to see a young player go down with another injury. So let's hope that it is good news, but it doesn't look good at this stage.
Jared Grant's a substitute trying to relaunch his career. He was fantastic against the Pies. He is substitute today, and Barry Hall is with him in the rooms.
Well, Granny, pretty friendly game of footy at the moment. Tackle pressure's been really high from the doggies. Luke Beveridge, you're pretty happy at quarter time.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of pressure from the boys, and West Coast got on top that quarter a little bit, but the boys fought back, which was good.
Stoppages was a big thing as well. You started to get on top. Big Will doing a pretty good job in there.
Yeah, Will's getting his hand on the ball and helping the mids get the ball out of there, so hopefully he can continue that. And Nanui's a bit of a force.
And what's the plan with you coming on as a sub? Is there any certain time you're going to come on, or is it just willy-nilly?
Yeah, well, hopefully I'll get the call up. I don't want to sit on the bench for too long, but that'll be up to Luke.
And what role will you play? Will you be up the ground a little bit, or will you be forward?
Yeah, probably try and get into the game, bit of wing, bit of half forward, and just try and get involved.
Good luck when you get on.
Thanks, Wes.
He's a real weapon. He's a match winner for the Dogs if he gets his opportunity.
Absolutely. Now, from a West Coast Eagles point of view, who should they be most concerned about with the Western Bulldogs in the second half?
Match winner right now for me is Stringer. I think that he is in form. Obviously, Bontempelli is yet to really have an influence, but Stringer has got that X factor, and we saw it at play here when he just gets the ball, looks, sidestep, bang, from 40 metres out. That's a bloke who I think is going to make a massive name for himself. Couple of goals. He missed one out in the full, but he is one that they would be really concerned about. And the Dogs?
I think Mark Lacroix, he's got up the ground, hasn't had a massive impact in the first half, had 9 disposals, kicked 1 goal, 2 though, but I think he can actually start to hurt the Dogs deep. And that as the game goes on, and as I feel it might open up in the last quarter, I think Lacroix, at the venue where he kicked, 12, about 5 or 6 years ago, I think he can have another big last half.
What I can say, Lynchy, is if this is the worst game of footy we've seen for the year, it's going to be one hell of a season. It's a great game at half-time, both sides in it to win it. We're going to take a break and be back with the second half straight after this with the Dogs leading by 4 points.
Welcome back to Etihad Stadium. The West Coast Eagles are back out on the ground, as are the Western Bulldogs. It's been a fantastic first half to watch. I'm sure the crowd here at Etihad have loved it. Let's get down to Barry at ground level. Barry's been very busy inside the Western Bulldogs forward 50.
Yeah, it certainly has, matey. Look, they're doing a hell of a lot right, the Western Bulldogs. Had 54 tackles so far in this game, but the most impressive thing for me is they've had 21 inside 50 tackles. Now, we've had a look in the record books. The most inside 50 tackles for a game is 34, which is a massive effort in the Western Bulldogs. They're on world record pace at the moment, but we've also delved into the record books as well in terms of a player. The most the players had inside 50 is 7. Delhouse and Bontempelli have had 5 each at this stage, so a great effort from those two, but it's very much a team ethos inside 50 for the Western Bulldogs at this stage. They're on world record pace, boys.
Fantastic stuff by the Bulldogs, and that's why they're going to be hard to beat. But see Bontempelli starting on the pine, Baz. What's your thoughts on where he should be placed when he comes on?
Oh, look, I'd really place him on the wing. I think, his size and his mobility. He reminds me a lot of Cooter, the way he moves, and he's a hard man to match up on. So I'd give him a little bit of freedom on the wing. Same with Jared Grant. I think, late in this game, that size could be a real advantage for him.
Yep.
Yeah, spot on, Baz, I think. But the really encouraging thing, as you've spoken about Jared in the first half, Bontempelli struggled to get the ball in hand. He's only had those 7 disposals for the first half. But as Baz has just spoken about, he's had 6 tackles, 5 of them forward 50. He's still bringing something really valuable to the table, which is fantastic for a young man to do.
Yeah, had an influence, and certainly a much better second quarter than the first quarter, so his graph is heading in the right direction. But I think a lot of it is going to be decided upon this big battle in the middle of the ground with Will Minson and Nick Natanui. And they're head-to-head at the opener again.
And Natanui close to the line as the second half gets underway. He's trying to come in, and now he flicks back. Minson will get a good run on it, but Natanui, look at that, that's perfect. Out into the path of Shuey, who throws it quickly onto the left boot and gets plenty on it. Kennedy tries to keep it down in front. Talia smothers a good one. Kennedy swung in the tackle. McRae trapped it, gave it to Wood. Murphy uses the ball to Morris.
Got to get some separation between those two big blokes.
Yeah, you know how they'll do that in about 10 minutes' time. I think Big Redpath will be subbed out of the game and Jared Grant will be in. But yep, certainly moving forward, got to get the coordination up and going.
Natanui, that's a clever handball. Gaff spins around quickly, gets it to the top of the square. Big punch from Roughhead, strong, that's the way you do it.
Didn't really give him a chance though, had a bit of dip on it, that kick. Lysette wants it in the air so he can launch.
So Natanui and Minson, now Shuey is just peeling off the back, hoping for the run on where Britis went to. So they opened up the space behind Natanui, and that's exactly where they knew it was going. Again, Natanui to a man on the move, this time Lacroix. He's got it. Somehow it fell in his arms. Now Prittis. They're going back. Stop start. Nelson's kick. Only as far as Talia.
Well, he had to pull it a bit because it was going to be smothered, so he's got a pretty sharp mind, has Nelson.
That's a good kick on the way out. Found Roughhead. Now Jong, he thinks about taking on Lysette, successful. But there's a bit of pressure still. Cramery. Boyd. They'll just need to find a target here, the Dogs. Over the top of Jong. In turn now for Marston on the way back for the Eagles. Shepherd becoming more and more important for the Eagles. Oh, a little bit too much over the top of Rosa. He might get a second chance. Here comes Gerard's man, Jake Stringer. And he's going to steal it off him. Shuey goes down and they hold it up.
As well held on by Shuey.
Well, we said earlier, if you live by the sword, you can die by the sword. That kick across ground was almost frightful.
Well picked up Gaff. Marston, it's a floater. First two at Talia. Doesn't get a kind bounce, doesn't get two bounces. And in the end, he does what the only thing he could do is see it over the line.
Yeah, pretty content to get it over the line, wait for some support.
Keep that bit of separation.
Well, Minchin's got to start to curtail the Nat Nui influence at these stoppages. He's getting his arm way too free and directing it too easily.
And this time, Selwood was in front. Big pack. Staying down Kennedy. Throws it on the boot. McGinnity still going. McGinnity handball over the top. Cripps will have to be quick.
Oh, goal.
He is. 3 goals to Cripps, and that one almost out of midair.
Right, Cripps just thought his way through that one, and in midair has just thrown it on the slipper and just got it through in the nick of time. But good work here to get the ball inboard from McGinnity. And here he goes.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
That is very good. Now, who did we see that at Patterson Stadium a number of years ago?
Wells do it once.
Wells, Daniel Wells, Jackie Chan.
It was a fantastic goal. Well done from Cripps.
That's terrific work. To get that, I mean, McGinnity to keep it in right on the boundary, and then for Cripps to manage to kick that in midair. And they get the lead back just through individual skill. First goal for the second half to the Eagles.
Man on man to defence now for the Eagles. Dogs have manned them up.
That's high. Prittis will win it. Against Minson, and off they go. They break quickly. Gaff. Lysette's coming. And staying down again, McGinnity. And keeps it in once more. Kept it alive. McRae down low. Lamb, quick hands, lightning to Lysette. Rosa, one way, then the other, and a high floating ball. Out comes Kennedy. Lacroix was there, but it falls for the Bulldogs. Not a lot to kick to here. Closing speed of Nat Nui was impressive. He kept it going for the Eagles. Lacroix pulls the kick. Kennedy, that's a goal assist, Nat Nui.
What about Nick Nat Nui? His closing speed there to get across and smother was amazing.
Won't go on the stat sheet, but unless you see Nick Nat Nui on a regular basis, sometimes I think you miss out on the stuff he does off the ball and his influence. He just creates chaos, Nat Nui, and it's chaos that the Eagles mids generally cash in on.
Kennedy for his second, 2 in a row for the West Coast Eagles, and just like the second quarter, they start well.
And you talk about offensive work, but it was the defensive pressure, as you said, from Nick Nat Nui there. His closing speed over that 20 or 30 metres, not to totally smother the ball, but to get close, and just gets a hand on it. Now, the difference there is a smothered kick that goes 5 metres to one that's outside the forward 50 and probably a boundary throw-in. Ended up quick transition out to Josh Kennedy. It kicks a nice goal. Fantastic work from Big Ruck.
So that's 3 quarters in a row where the West Coast have come out the best and kicked the first couple of goals. And now it's up to the Bulldogs to work their way back into the game. 8 points the margin. Nat Nui looking real dangerous.
And he's just totally dominated this opening 5 or 6 minutes.
And again from the free kick, they're allowed to move quickly. Dom Sheed pops it up high. Kennedy, Nat Nui's there. Where did he come from? Cripps already has 3 goals, cut off by Jong. Shuey's got a couple. He looks for the free kick. He's good at it.
He's got to lock it in now, the Eagles.
This is where the Bulldogs need to help Will Minson out here. They need a third up jumper to get over the top of Nat Nui. He's starting to dominate.
Lamb through. Got it out quickly. Rosa squeezes the kick. And another behind.
Let's see if the Bulldogs can put together a defensive thrust here that gets the pressure off them. They've got to get the ball down the other end, and you'd like to see Murphy play on. It's one of his favourite tricks, and he does it well.
It's not his best kick though, Jared, because he's put it onto the chest of McGovern.
The players everywhere short.
And slipping over and just getting it before Cripps could get it was McRae coming through, and now Cripps is going to line up for goal number 4.
Yeah, McRae just came in to make the spoil, but as he planted the left foot, he just slipped, and things starting to really go the West Coast Eagles' way now.
But the game has been played in bursts, and when you're having a burst, you've just got to make the most of your opportunities. This has got to go through. The Dogs will come again. This one has to go through to extend their lead.
This for a career high 4 goals, kicks truly, and the Eagles have got another burst.
Totally dominating this quarter, 36 possessions to 16. The inside 50s, it's just a one-way street at the present time. It's 7 inside 50s to none. They just have not been able to get the ball forward off centre at this stage.
Absolutely spot on, Jared. And you spoke about the differential. Time in forward half is being dominated by the West Coast Eagles. Tied in the forward half in the first half was 63% to the Western Bulldogs.
So 2 for this quarter already to Jamie Cripps. He kicked 3 last year against Essendon, against Collingwood, now with 4. But importantly for his team, it's back to that 15-point margin, which it was in the third quarter before the Bulldogs got something going. But there's real pressure here for the home team. That time Minson wins it. That time Jong runs onto it, and he kicks it low towards Boyd. Good spoil McGovern. Numbers needed for the West Coast, and they have them. Rosa to Wellingham. Runs it to the defensive 50, hooks it back, hooks it too far in fact. 3-on-1, Johannesson, Bontempelli wants to bring a couple of players into it, not yet, decides to launch it long. And there's McGovern. Barry Hall's man.
He is a ripper, this kid.
He's an absolute star in the making. Had a few issues pre-season 18 months ago, but it's worked hard since.
Cramery just couldn't find Sheed there, just couldn't get the jumper, so now Lysett's running.
Kennedy out the back.
And Lysett's going to say, I can run away from you, Will Minson, you won't catch me, and you certainly won't catch Shuey. They've overdone it a little bit, they've still got numbers though. McGinnity wanted the free kick, umpire said, no, you felt for it. Shuey, Hearn, Sheed up high, Lamb is there, so too the fist of Talia. Roughhead couldn't get the handball away. It's held to him. Now it falls out for Boyd. Bontempelli, quick hands. Talia the clearing kick, and he's got relief in Honeychurch, and he needs a runner, and he gets one towards the wing. Dalhouse, an unkind bounce for him. We've got to keep their feet here. Nelson has Dalhouse, but Dalhouse got it on to Boyd. His only option is to kick it long over the top and hope that his man can go back and get it in Redpath, and he couldn't.
Great passage of play by both clubs. The Bulldogs work really hard under enormous pressure. I like the former Nelson. He's doing really well.
Yeah, he looks like a handy player.
Yep.
Very handy player out of Geelong Falcons. A few good players come out of that club.
Oh, yeah. Bontempelli found it, hooked it, and goaled it. That's what the people come to see, the Bont.
And it was just way too easy that time, wasn't it?
Well, it was. But he reads the play well. When he gets an opportunity, he certainly executes. And we've seen it a number of times in his short career. See him here. Both the ruckmen are held back off the ball. Bontempelli in the front there takes possession and snaps beautifully. Very similar snap to against Melbourne here last year when he tore the game away from Melbourne, kicking 2 last quarter goals on James Frawley.
Great use of the body. Yeah, Luke Shuey will learn from that one. The big Bont. He just edged him away from the ball, opened up his left leg, secured a goal. And I think the deja vu scenario is about to repeat itself.
Well, they should get the next 2 goals, shouldn't they?
Well, they got that last centre clearance, the Western Bulldogs. because Nat Nui wasn't in the centre. He's back there and they get another clearance.
And that's a good mark by Boyd. He had to wait.
It's an accidental 50, but it's 50. Should be.
It's not paid, so you have to ask yourself, how did the ball leave his hands?
It's just a little late.
But anyway, he's just gone short to rough it. So well closed down here by West Coast. They're hoping for the error, but McRae has it. A little chip over to Picken. Haven't seen a lot of this, have we?
The slower movement for the Dogs.
Yeah, haven't seen a lot from either side.
Well, the tempo playing, and sometimes it is best to just slow things up.
He's going to kick to a pack. Redpath, Nat Nui, all the big men are there. Redpath almost stole it. He did.
Well played.
Great work by the big man. He probably didn't want it back from Cramery, but he got it. Now a chance for Jong. He's clear. And he kicks it into the space. And he wants a couple to run onto it. Stringer gets there first. Palms off. Can't get boot to ball. That's holding the ball. First action was the fend off.
Yep.
Jared was out of the chair. The X Factor got involved. Just couldn't quite get it onto the boot, but exciting player. Been impressed with his defensive play as well. But here, just the fend tried to get away from big Scotty Lycett, but couldn't.
He might have been able to just whip that first handball off.
Butler with a long kick, defensive position, was hoping for Kennedy, thromming it well and kicking forward, but it's got to come back quickly for the Bulldogs.
They've got to be better than that. The hack kick forward.
Picken,
Merchant.
McRae.
Oh, look at even the supporters are yelling at he's there.
Dixon, he's got a hand off to Johannesson. Now he's within range. Is he? Yes, he's true. And they get two in a row, the Bulldogs.
Got a feeling we've got a cliffhanger coming up here.
Probably the major issue on that occasion for the West Coast Eagles, their midfield and defence dropped very deep defence, and they allowed a number of players. You see here running into screen around the 50-metre arc. There's 2 and 3 Western Bulldogs players by themselves. Far too deep on that occasion from the West Coast defence. Very nice finish from Johannesson.
Doesn't kick a lot of goals. It's only his 6th goal, Jason Johannesson.
Nice finish, important
good finish.
Great reply after the onslaught from the Eagles, kicking the first 3 goals of this term.
So if we're on cue, it's the Bulldogs' turn to get the next one again. Every quarter repeating itself at the moment, and certainly the pace of the game is still there. Look at that great work from Nat Nui. Shuey, Lamb attacked it brilliantly.
He got slaughtered by his own man.
Yep. Friendly fire. And now the Bulldogs on the way out. McRae starting to be the link man on the way out. But Nat Nui is the most dominant player on the ground at the moment. And there's a smother, and that's great work.
You're right, they've lost one clearance, I think, out of the centre in the last 10 minutes is when he went off.
Yep.
Baz, when do the Bulldogs draw the wild card and institute the substitute?
Yeah, I think it has to be pretty soon. I thought they would have done it when all the momentum was with West Coast Eagles, but look, the Doggies have fought back, but I reckon it'll be very, very soon. I think it'll be Redpath, unfortunately.
Prittis caught by McRae, but managed to get hands free and get it back to Butler. Quick hand, Selwood. If they get out of this, it'll be magnificent stuff. As look at the Bulldogs swarm them again. Wallace threw it on the boot. Playing in front is always a chance. Stringer. This time he managed to get free, and he hooks it round brilliantly over the back, taken by Johannesson again. 2 in a row, and they are back in front.
He doesn't kick many goals, Matty, but he's kicked 2 in 30 seconds.
Yep.
Very nice piece of work, and good work again from Stringer to get quickly around off the mark and get it in deep. So that good work here, gets the ball up, swings inboard, and drives it long to the top of the goal square. More importantly, it's flat, so he can get over the back. And that's a very handy goal, and it's absolutely game on. 3 now to the Dogs.
2 in a row to Jason Johannesson. 3 in a row to the Bulldogs. Margin restored back to 3 points. He's happy. He goes to the bench for a rest. And the Eagles get some momentum. Oh, the Bulldogs get the momentum back from the Eagles. Lycett in the ruck. And Will decides to take it himself. And Redpath came out. Couldn't take the chest mark. Shepherd, McGovern slices the kick out in front. It's a clever one because he knew the bounce might favour Selwood, and it does. And he hooks it back to a dangerous position. collision. Murphy did okay, but numbers for the Eagles. Cripps, slung. Bontempelli has it. Redpath needs a runner. Or he bangs it long towards Stringer. Going back was Boyd. He got crunched. Stringer's trying to bust through and trying to give it off. Still going Stringer. Back. McRae can line up on his left. And he hooks it to the top of the square.
Oh. Umpire did some shepherding there.
Yeah, and away go the Eagles. And this could be real transition footy again. Wellingham. Long ball to Kennedy. He's got the sit. Over the back for Lamb. Didn't take it. Neither did Lacroix. Kennedy's got it now. Threw it on the boot. Or just laid it off to Lacroix, who handballs to Lamb. And he kicks his first goal of the AFL. The Eagles back in front.
Well, there's the transition. Just again, what we've seen so much from the West Coast Eagles today. Deep defence, the ball goes in here. Great spoil over the back of Boyd, who goes back with courage, but great body spoil.
That was a mark. He knocked his arm.
Come on, Gerald. And the umpire almost got in the road there, but here's the rebound. Wellingham runs and drives the ball long towards Josh Kennedy, and some nice work here. He pulls this kick to hit Lacroix.
Yeah, it's a great play.
Unselfish play there.
Tom Lamb's first goal, and why wouldn't he be thrilled? Came into the game a lot earlier than he probably expected. He gets the goal. Eagles back in front. What a game. What a transition once again from the West Coast. Minson, more confident when Nat knew he's not there. Dixon went without it. Marston didn't. Sheed ducked under the tackle. Gaff forced to kick quickly. Talia in a good position. Takes the mark.
Just needed.
Got a blood roll, I think. Talia will go from the ground.
Well, in a man-on-man situation, Lynchie, for the first time I can remember in this match, you look across the ground and essentially everybody is within 3 or 4 metres of their man.
And there's a bit of push and shove everywhere at the minute.
Yeah, they're trying to release a player and get a block going so somebody can slide out to the side and get an easy chest mark. But it's been a great fight back by the Western Bulldogs on 3 occasions. This time the West Coast Eagles responded quickly.
And the tempo hasn't dropped off at all.
It has not dropped.
Boyd away quickly, and from that big stoppage managed to just pop it onto the chest of Murphy, who drills it low. A hand in there just before Dalhouse could get there. West Coast now to rebound once again. Marston had enough time. Left boot down the line. Spoil comes, but it goes over the back towards McGinnity, out of bounds.
And you can just see McGinnity, he doesn't care about getting the footy. He just wants Robert Murphy not to smell the leather. He's done a pretty good job after Murphy got away to a fly.
And it might be where Talia copped the elbow that forced him from the ground with the blood roll. Lysette, well, he tapped it straight towards Mitch Wallace.
Good hands, Wallace.
McRae did well to fight back into it. Bontempelli sliced through and releases John, who's got speed, can keep going.
They got the overlap. They should get a scoring opportunity.
He can kick it to the top of the square. Well kicked, well spotted. This time it's not Stringer, it's Cramery.
Really good kick from Lim John to get it in, and good body work from Cramery. Just to ease his opponent under the ball. Far too easy, actually. But really good build-up. Good to see Bontempelli once again getting involved at the start of that chain.
Well, we know Cramery's a goal kicker. 37 goals last year. Directly in front. 30 metres out. Not a difficult kick. Put the doggies back in front.
Well, he's had no footy in the lead-up, so there was always going to be more difficult for him than others.
And that's on the back of a lot of the fatigue in the second half. I mean, all players will fatigue in their first premiership game.
And that's why I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that gets subbed out for that reason.
Yeah, okay.
Well, long ball up. And big catch by Wellingham. He had the sit. Gave it quickly to Lacroix. He tumbles it forward. Standing in the way, Johannessen's had a pretty good third quarter.
Big third quarter.
He's kicked a couple of goals, and now he just pops it over the top to Boyd. Here comes big Tom Boyd. Competed well. Numbers. Bulldogs. Dixon. Still going, open goal square, spots it, keeps running and drills it. That's a finish for you.
You see a better game this year, Lynchie, where we're going to be entertained. It's round 1.
Oh, it's round 1. That's brilliant.
It is brilliant.
This was good for Tom Boyd. I really like this.
Yep.
He It's not going to take man of the year all the time, but if he just competes, he actually had the ball ripped out of his hands again. It's happened a few times from his teammates. This is an excellent finish.
Yeah, great finish. You're spot on with Boyd. That's the absolute major focus for Boyd. He's not going to take big marks for a year or so.
Yeah, Boyd did well, but in the end it was better for the team that Goods just paddled it out to Dixon. And Dixon, that is a class finish. Tory Dixon, just the 7 disposals. His first goal, Bulldogs, back in front by 4. They led by 5 at quarter time, 4 at half time.
We spoke at half-time about some of the key players for each team. Shannon Hearn, he's a real key player for the West Coast Eagles. He's only had 1 handball in this game. Liam Picken is putting a lot of time into him, shut him right down.
Yeah, Marston with 24 disposals, Prentice with 21, and on the other side, Matty Boyd with 27. And here's Bontempelli off the outside of the boot. Spoil comes from Shepherd. It's a strong one. Nelson, I should say.
Well, it is interesting, Lynchy, you pointed it out, but Liam Picken is desperately trying to get on to Shannon Hearn, but Shannon Hearn is desperately trying to get on to Jack Redpath. So at centre bounces, there's a dance going on.
Yeah. So he's going over there now.
Yeah.
That time Minson got it down in front, but first to it is Shuey. Handball away towards the line. Going again.
So exactly as you were saying, Hearn's trying to get away from Picken. And there we go. Picken just wanders over, puts time into one of the real destructive players across half-back in the competition.
So a little flick there from Minson. He wants to put it behind towards Dixon, but he didn't get there. Sheed. Falls for Bontempelli. Handball was too fierce, but he follows up. Here's Naitanui. Lost his legs. He'll get a free kick.
Dogs fans aren't happy, but
not happy at all.
Not a lot to argue about there, I thought.
Too much height on the kick. Love the way Lamb goes at it, though.
It does.
Yeah, he's got good height at 192 centimetres. He was number 2 in the draft combine tested for the 3K time trial at 9:45. Gets a reasonable clip. And 3rd in the beat test. A really good athlete.
Yeah, really jumps hard at the footy in the air. Wallace, he might win the free there. He does, and listen to the fans.
That's what you want from your fans. Passionately get involved, and they've got a lot to support today.
Free kicks, 14 apiece. Have hardly noticed the umpires, which is good. Wallace kicks it, so Redpath can have a jump at it. The big man, well, he's getting his hands on it. He's got to get one to stick.
That's a great kick.
That's a great kick. Off the bench comes Cremery. Just misses Don Sheed, but it's the mark. He wants to move quickly. The danger man, Hearn. Here they go. Transition. Lacroix peels off. Wants it to the goal square. Kennedy decides to go shorter. Gaff. He'll take a shot at goal.
Good hard running from all Eagles players there from behind the ball, but ends up with Gaff with an opportunity to pinch back the lead.
And importantly, Shannon Hearn getting involved.
Yeah.
Finally got away from his 2 opponents. He's trying to get to Redpath, but Picken just couldn't go with him on that occasion.
Really improved as a player last year. Andrew Gaff, his goal kicking improved as well. Here's a genuine opportunity early in the season.
45 metres out. Strikes it perfectly. The lead changes once again. Eagles in front.
Well, there was a lot invested by the Eagles with a high draft pick on Andrew Gaff. And I think he's improved year on year. He's much more of a ball winner now. He's a hard runner, always has been. His kicking, I think, is improved. He's just a genuine top-class midfielder.
And he's one of those really important players because he's a link player. He can break the lines, and he was rewarded with 4th place in the best and fairest last year for the Eagles.
That's a quality finich, and just the 7th kick for Gaff. So, what you said is right, Jared. A few years ago, he'd be 16 and 1.
Yep.
So he's getting inside and playing inside and out. Naitanui off to Sheed. Prentice felt for it.
That time
on the second.
He got the second attempt.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yep.
I think Matty Prentice actually dived forward a bit too much on the first occasion. Umpire was all over it.
Lays it off to Butler. In turn, wider to Rosa. Gaff directing traffic, and Rosa decides to go back to Butler. Trying to work it to the other side.
Corridor might open up here with Shepherd with an aggressive kick.
Willingham.
Did well though, the Bulldogs. They had the overlap, but they closed it down quickly there, the Western Bulldogs.
That's the important side of the defensive play, that transition to push the zone across. They've got all their numbers in place at the moment, but you've got to really transition with the offensive team.
So do they pull the trigger with the kick in the middle? No, they don't. They're staying safe.
They go down the line to Lysette. They back him in to at least push it down towards Sheed. It took a long time to get rid of it.
And only just got rid of it. It was almost a throw.
Might be in the back too. Dogs won't be happy.
It's Gaff again.
Just outside his range.
Yeah, I think so. He's going to have to kick from 55.
This is the one where Nat knew he should pull out of this contest. Get 30 metres back so he's got to jump. His run and jump is his great strength.
Exactly. You don't want him sitting under the ball.
Sets it up so he can jump at it. It's going to go very short. Spoiled down to Dixon.
That was a horrible kick because it opened up for the rebound.
Ball stringer.
Too short.
Murphy almost ran into the umpire. He doesn't have a lot of options here. It's got to be precision kicking from him.
Boundary line will do for the Dogs.
Oh, it doesn't matter if Cremery marks it brilliantly, but he's got no one to kick to. Waits, back to Johannison. There's players in the middle. He ignores that. Kicks it long towards Goods. One hand to it. Now recovers. Couldn't get boot to ball. Holding the ball. And away go the Eagles. The West Coast Eagles, I should say.
We knew what you meant, Matty.
Oh, that is a shocker too. Pressure starting to tell. Fatigue starting to tell.
Dixon has a man in the goal square. Redpath. Oh, that's outstanding from McGovern.
That's why that man was the #1 contested marker with just 13 games under his belt last year for the Eagles. Very good work. Didn't get pushed out under the ball. Perfect opportunity for Redpath to ease him under the ball and take an easy grab.
The man crush is working, Barry. He's doing everything right for you.
I'm loving him with every possession. I think it's a good lesson for Redpath as well. There's been 3 or 4 occasions where he's just had to clunk the ball. That could cost him games in the end of the day. Good young player, good basis, but he needs to take those.
Gaff. His kick wide. Now, we got just under 2 minutes remaining. Both sides, Jared, have decided to, the Bulldogs have decided to leave their sub. Because of the tempo of the game, wait for the last quarter.
Probably. I mean, that's the only way you can interpret it. They haven't got an injury that they need to adjust.
To cover,
They're reasonably happy.
Rosa under pressure. Tom Boyd. McGovern pushed it out towards Rosa. He wants the boundary.
Nowhere else to handball.
And that's the thing.
Although I'm not sure he agrees.
No, he doesn't agree. But there's not too much going wrong for the Bulldogs at the moment. No. So no need to pull the trigger just yet.
Well, if they take Redpath off, they lose structure. They get extra mobility, but they lose their structure.
Yeah, it'll be a different makeup. That's right. I think he's still the one to go, but they're just holding off.
Inside the Bulldogs forward 50. This is what we've seen all night. The Bulldogs somehow work it out and find their way to goal. It's the Eagles by 2 points, though. Bontempelli out to Jong. He just lost his footing.
We've seen Bontempelli on a number of occasions now, whether it's through the middle of the ground or a forward 50 stoppages as a third up jumper.
Does it well.
West Coast have to be aware of that. They've got to stop the run. Jared Grant just warming up.
There's the Bont. McRae. McGovern. Cripps. And that's well played by the Eagles. They didn't panic there and they cleared it.
This is a great battle, this one.
Murphy out in front of McGinnity. Got it by hand. A little bit high on the handball. Pickett is barreled by Hearn. Take that, he says.
Little square up, I would have thought.
Yeah.
And Pickett's done a good job in this quarter on Hearn. So I just thought square one up there. Nice opportunity. Couldn't go.
Murphy to the bench for a rest. It was hard running. Falls short for Minson, the throw in. Wallace, McRae, kept it alive. Hearn doesn't.
See, Matt Prittis just stretching the calves. Looks like he might have been starting to cramp.
40 seconds remaining, time for both teams to get a late one and take some momentum into the three-quarter time huddle. Dowhouse in front. Jong, and talk about the momentum and talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Well, there won't be happy with their clearance work there, the Eagles. That was just way too easy. One out the back, quick kick around the corner.
So there was another stoppage without Nat Nui there, and that's the one. They're trying to rest him on the ground by pushing him forward, but they're getting dominated by Minson in these sort of situations. Now, he nullified that, but he got it down to his teammate on that occasion in Dalhouse.
Clock ticks down. Should be the last kick of the quarter. Lin Jong to put the Bulldogs back in front. Runs out wide, gets it up high. Won't be a goal. It won't be a point. It's hit the boundary post, I'd say, so it's out of bounds. So not to be for Lin Jong, but this terrific contest continues. Hasn't been more than a kick in it in all three changes, but this time it's the West Coast Eagles that have the slight lead. Don't go anywhere. This is going to be a magnificent last quarter. Well, it's all set for a wonderful last quarter here at Etihad. There's been nothing in this game right throughout the evening. Been fast, frenetic, attacking football. The West Coast Eagles have a slight lead at the moment, so they've got their nose in front by just the 2 points. But gee, it's been fun to watch.
It's been a brilliant game, and I've just noticed that Jared Grant looks as if he's about to get his opportunity to get into the fray, and not sure who's going to be taken off, but he's certainly taken off that.
The vest is off. Yeah, so he'll be looking forward to jumping in there. I think a little bit through the midfield in the forward half.
Well, let's find out what's happening in the opposite camp over at the West Coast Eagles. Barry Hall has their stoppages and structures coach, a man we know well, Don Pike.
Yeah, Don, well, in a pretty taxing game of footy, winning the stoppages and contested ball that quarter is pretty important.
Yeah, well, something we had to address at half-time because we're getting really badly beaten in that area, and players responded well, so we've got one more quarter to go in that area to make sure we get an advantage from some of that work.
And Nick Nat Nui is becoming really important. Every time he's around the footy, something happens.
Yeah, well, he's one of those unique guys who can give us a contest in the ruck, but also on the ground, so he's going to be really important for us in the last quarter as well.
What's the instructions to the players for this last quarter?
Oh, look, it's continue to take the game on. I mean, it's been one of those games where we've probably copped up a few goals on turnover and a few errors, so important we sort of maintain the way we want to play, move the ball nice and quick, get it in deep, put some pressure on their backs.
Thanks for your time. Good luck.
Okay, tough.
Well, it's Jack Redpath that's got the red vest. You're spot on there, Lynchy.
Pick that one. Well done.
Well, just from a change of structure point of view, he's still got Boyd as the bailout kick deep, and Grant has the capabilities of playing a key forward role, slightly different assets to his name. But
he's wandering off towards the wing.
Well, that's where he played so well against Collingwood 2 weeks ago.
And it gives them a different look in the forward 50. They just have been pretty cumbersome, and that's why I think the major issue against West Coast, with their really good rebound from deep defence, with two big 6'6" forwards, they struggle to put pressure on the ball carrier out.
I think they had to get him on. In some ways, though, it helps the Eagles because they've lost their key defenders, and one of them tonight, Mitch Brown, so it doesn't give them that height advantage, but if you're not marking the ball, well, then you've got no advantage anyway.
That's the point. No forward 50 marks from those two players is a big issue.
Eagles by 2. First 4 points of the year up for grabs. Both teams right here, right now. Nat Nui was hoping for Selwood. It comes to Minson, so the first clearance for the big man. Floats it up. It's a real tough one. Cramery heard McRae out wide, couldn't quite find him. Nelson to Marston and turn Hearn, and just got up the line to Selwood. He's corralled well by Dalhouse, forced him to kick around the corner. Talia just sort of didn't want to go for that, but he left it for Morris. In the end, they can tidy up here, the Dogs. Just Talia's involved now. Bontempelli's strong hands.
Well read Selwood, but brilliantly marked under pressure, Bontempelli.
Really strong hands from Bontempelli.
Not a lot of movement for him. Forced to just kick to a contest. Boyd. Almost.
Stiff there.
Good handball, though. Jong. Boyd should use it again. Now Wallace. Tough kick. He decides to go on the ground. And Jason Dunstan won't be happy about that early in the year.
That might come up tomorrow night, I would have thought. Just didn't think his way through that one overly well. And more importantly for the Bulldogs, it's a handover to the West Coast Eagles for this great run we've seen all night.
He's got nowhere to kick this. He's going to have to just go long to out numbers. No, he can go handball. Pressure's still on.
Nelson.
Did well.
Rosa.
Kennedy's got to get up the ground.
They need a massive last quarter from Kennedy. they're going to win this. They've got to try and get some easy goals here, the Eagles.
Here's Kennedy with Bontempelli. And Kennedy did well to get it back to Cripps. He's kicked 4 goals. That's a very clever handball to Lamb, who just stopped.
I think he thought it was a kick. He stopped, absolutely. Unless he's cramped.
I think he might be right. I think he's confused.
Yeah, I think he thought he could stop here. Is the wrestle. Kennedy gets rid of Roughhead. Couldn't get to the drop zone.
Boundary throw in. Chance here for West Coast. Nick Nat. Over the back it goes. Trapped by Bontempelli.
Good release.
Spun out of trouble. Gave it to Cremery. Jong. Here's Grant for his first touch. He found a target. McRae on the burst. Keeps it low. Drills it to Stringer.
Brilliant work there. The Eagles decided to go over the back from the stoppage, and it exposed them. The Dogs had more numbers there, and they released it with a brilliant handball from Bontempelli to get them going. And the rebound footy has been quite superb. If they're allowed to play that way, the rebound footy, they're going to have a memorable victory here, the Bulldogs.
Well, they will, absolutely. Stringer's already taken a forward 50 mark. It's been few and far between tonight for the Dogs.
It's got 2 goals won, but this is a big kick on the reverse angle. We'll take a look because he'll put his team in front. Inside 50 he runs. It drifts well right. In fact, it hasn't scored.
Set back on that one. It's his last couple of shots that go haven't been good off the boot.
Hearn spots Wellingham in a bit of space and decides to use him.
It's incredible he could get that space, actually.
Yeah.
Well worked from Wellingham and also from the Eagles to clear that space so he could run into.
He's going to hook this back towards the boundary. Now, Dixon's trying to get rid of Lycett so Roughhead can mark it. Didn't quite complete the mark. Now a chance for West Coast, although there's a free kick coming back.
Yeah, Bob Murphy will get that.
Murphy.
It's a big call from a bloke 50 metres away, because it looks as if Murphy had the ball in his hands when the tackle was done, and he followed through, which the umpire didn't like.
Goods is going to hit the square here. Boyd, not quite. Stringer, quite. Yes, 3 goals to Stringer, and the Dogs are now back in front.
I think we like Stringer on the ground with the reflex kicks rather than those set kicks at this stage, Lynchy. But here's Boyd again. It's a big contest there. McGovern did it really well as well, but this kid has got innate sense. The ball just follows him. You can see him losing his man. Butler didn't know where he was, and he just quite calmly put it around the corner. Big goal.
So they break the run. This time, the final quarter, they kick the first goal.
Yeah, he's been impressive, as you said, at ground level. He can present up and take the mark as well, but just he's got that innate ability to sniff out a goal on the ground.
Well, his counterpart is Mark LaCroix at the other end, who has given off about 3 or 4 goals tonight. He may just need to kick 1 or 2 for the Eagles to win.
Advantage paid. Sheed keeps it low.
There he is.
Drills it into the pocket. LaCroix very dangerous in this situation. Johannesson gets rid of him. LaCroix wanted the free kick. Johannesson didn't want anything to do with it. Wood puts on the afterburners. Untidy handball to Murphy. Pressure here. Eagles going. LaCroix back to Cripps. Can he make it 5? Oh. He can. It's a handful. That's a PB again.
2 PBs in the one night, Matty.
That's what happens when you keep kicking goals, Richie.
Off one step, just a little left to right fade there as well. Again, defensive pressure's been the name of the game tonight from both teams. Really good work to cause a turnover. LaCroix identified that Cripps was free, quickly assessed it, and off a half a step just popped it through. Fantastic work, good tackling pressure from Lycett.
5 goals, and I don't know what's happening in the other games, but he could be leading the common medal.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could well be. He's also been involved in 3 others. He's had 8 score involvements. That's how important he's been. Yep. Kennedy's had 7 score involvements, and LaCroix's had 6.
So once again, the lead changes. This time it's Eagles, but Jared Grant, the sub, to change it again.
Oh, it's just missed.
It hits the post, Rob.
Marginal. But again, the concern is when Nat-Nui's not in the midfield, Minson dominates.
Yeah, it was a great tap from Minson, a big power tap. That was was a brilliant connection between outside mids and the big ruckman.
80 points apiece. Kick short. Goods plays on. Drills it in, and here's your man, Jared.
Well, we're watching him from this very spot pre-game.
Yep.
Now has struggled with his set shots. Now he was missing to the right, so just to the right post. So you'd think he's had this kick on numerous occasions at the start of the game in the warm-up. So it'd be interesting to see. Obviously, there's no breeze inside here, but he continually missed just right.
His personal best is 5 goals. He's kicked 4 3 times. This to make it 4 for the night. We just saw Cripps kick his 5th. Any score will put his team back in front, but he wouldn't mind a goal. And that's a post for him after a post for Grant.
He's just missing right. He's just
pushing him right, aren't they?
Absolutely pushing him right.
Well, both these sides are going to play a lot worse than this year and win games.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And the pace hasn't dropped off yet, Jerry.
No, it's an incredible brand of footy by both sides. Unfortunately, somebody's going to lose. Unless there's a draw, obviously.
Big long kick by Hearn.
Kennedy again over the top.
And here they go. Coast-to-coast chance again. McGinnity, Murphy, Nick-Nack.
Oh, look out.
Picks up, dodges, weaves, hicks around the corner. Oh! Coast-to-coast, West Coast, 4 times tonight.
Well, we've been waiting for this bloke to get to a fitness level that would allow his innate ability to be on display. Well, that was a hell of a goal from the West Coast, but it was an amazing display by Natanui.
Good work from Kennedy to knock the ball over the top. And Bob Murphy actually made up great ground, but you can't do much about that. And his height and weight, just size, to be able to pick the ball up so quickly on the run, off the ground, and convert.
Just brilliant from Natanui.
That's why he's one of the most exciting players in the game.
And how about their finishing? 14 goals too.
That's going to go on forever. 12-9 the Western Bulldogs. The kicking has cost them to date. Let's see if it hurts them when the siren goes.
And a lot of that's probably because in their forward 50 they had these continual repeat stoppages. There's been 30 guys down there, so there's been a couple scrappy kicks go through.
Through the legs of Goods, he wins a free kick.
Yeah, accidental
Boyd,
contact.
advantage taken. Murphy, he's got Tom Boyd deep, heads in that direction. Oh, the crowd will like this. Their young man takes the strong mark at last.
That's it in game 1.
Well, that's the first time he hasn't had 2 or 3 come over the top, and I think Jeremy McGovern would be filthy that he didn't get some support.
That's just a really well executed. That's what we saw a lot of through the TAC Cup and the National Championships. Just getting rid of his opponent, easing him under the ball, and big strong body taking a really solid mark.
For yet another lead change. Tom Boyd for his first goal of the night to take the lead back by a point.
Good kick.
He does it, and he salutes to the crowd.
Impressive signs, and the Western Bulldogs fans are pretty happy to see their big high-price recruit get involved. Again, long kick from Bob Murphy. Just eases McGovern under the ball and takes a one grabber. And that is a sign of things to come in the future. Great grab. More importantly, went back and slopped it.
Well, he did what Jake Stringer hasn't been able to do the last couple of shots, hasn't he? He just went back, popped it through. They've had a few set shots, but now he kicks it. Margin 1.
And well done. Well done to this young bloke. He's under enormous pressure. He's hung in there all day. They've given him the opportunity, and he's gone back and nailed it when they needed it.
Bontempelli, that's clean down low. Natanui almost got there to smother it. How quickly he does that, I'll never know. Honeychurch, he's got to beat 2. Sheed will use Butler. In turn, he goes back to Shepherd. And just enough time to kick it away. Lamb!
Gee.
Almost.
Some good work in the centre bounce on that occasion from young Mitch Wallace as well, who's running with Prittis. Just pushed him under the ball. It was a nice tap from Natanui, but great defensive work from Wallace.
There's Pritis again. Sheed. Off the outside of the boot, it'll spin towards Lysette. He's playing in front, he's rewarded.
You could just about kick it from there, Lysette.
He's a big kick.
Kick.
He looks for runners, he looks for options. He squares it. And he finds Marston.
It's interesting they go that way. And the danger spot is down there one-on-one is
Kennedy. One-on-one with Roughhead. Now they're 100 metres away. And there's 36 players forward.
Just do not get it.
Yeah, well,
it's not what we've seen from them tonight, is it?
No,
they've been prepared to run the gauntlet.
They've been really good all night. They've slaughtered this one, though.
Well, they had the opportunity to put it dangerous area, 10 metres out. This time the danger area is a rebound area for the Dogs.
Lamb comes through. Pritis is waiting for it to come out. Nat Nui down low.
Geez, he's throwing his body around Nat Nui, and there's a few blokes bouncing off him.
There's a lot of space between this stoppage and the goal square. Dangerous for the Dogs.
Minson. They've got some numbers here, the Dogs. Boyd, through traffic. Well done to Johannesson. John provides some run. And a measured pass to Dalhouse. Still some run from Johannesson.
Got one deep.
Got one beat and now kicks it long. Stringer wants it over the back. Yo's with him. Stringer, great tackle, Yo. In trouble, Stringer, but he's got some help. Off the ground, Cremery.
Throwing everything at this, the Dogs.
Geez, they counter-punch well, the Dogs.
Oh, they do.
From defensive stoppages, they just get on the bike and charge.
Wonderful tackle from Yo, but then Picken just came in to help out and save the day. Hearn now with the kick.
This is one of the best attacking plays that the West Coast have had all night. 4 coast-to-coast goals.
Did well.
Got through that one.
Can't butcher the ball now.
And playing a little bit wider, not prepared at the moment to take the corridor on with that aggressive kick.
We've got Lysette down the line. They got the boundary line, probably the favourite, or they just go backwards.
Kicks it up towards Lysette to run at it, but it might fall short for Pritis. Over the back for the Bulldogs. Bontempelli down low. Matthew Boyd, plenty of possession as usual. Jong, it's a tied Bontempelli, he missed there. Risky kick. Big stretch from Grant.
Just went a little bit too inboard there, I thought, Tom Lamb. He needed to find the boundary and Lysette, not Pritis.
Oh, they're in here.
That's a good kick from Grant. That's a beauty. Choice of 3.
But that's the thing. The 3 closest players that are dropping that ball were Western Bulldogs players.
That was a clever kick.
Very well weighted kick out in front.
He's a major talent. He's a massive talent, Jared Grant. He's just got to find a way to produce it on a regular basis like he did a couple of years ago. Last year was another write-off season. He's got a new coach who's got faith in him, and maybe he's getting some faith in himself.
So Luke Dalhouse has kicked a goal right before the break at quarter time. Now to give his side a little bit of breathing space. It's a mongrel. It's horrible. It's still in play.
I reckon that's very generous to call that a mongrel. I've done a few of those off my shin. It wasn't his best kick for goal.
Halfway through this last quarter, still the margin for either side, a kick. Minson.
He's holding, is
He
it?
might win the free kick, Big Will.
Well, that's from the centre of the ground. The umpire at the centre circle paid that one.
Is it Big Will?
Well, I think Jake Stringer's
Jake Stringer's got it. So there you go. We were watching Minson v Nat Nui. So just behind that, Stringer gets the free kick. Surely this is the time he kicks his 4th.
That's a huge call from probably 75 metres away.
He's missed a couple in this last quarter. He's pushed them right. Minson goes from the ground for a rest. Stringer. Still missing it right.
You can see the way he drops the ball.
Yeah,
he works it. And he's got to just do a little bit of work on that.
Have a look. Well,
the jumper. See the jumper scrag from Yo.
Stringer grabbed Yo's head to start with, and the secondary action was the one that was seen from the centre umpire.
And Big Will Minson's come off the ground. Tommy Boyd has gone to Nick Nui, so it'll be a very important matchup.
Yeah, he just needs a bit of a break, Will. He needs 5 minutes just for a spell, doesn't he? How's the world record for inside 50 tackles going, Barry?
I
I'll keep you updated, mate.
Thank you, mate. I just gave you some homework.
Obviously nowhere near it, otherwise I'd be more excited.
And Nat Newey's just run off the ground as well after that last leap. So we've got two youngsters up against it.
Prittis.
Oh, good pickpocket.
Strong, in close. Selwood off the left. Talia can't take it. Wood. Got to be quick here, Bontempelli. He is. Murphy has to go back the other way. Manders comes off the bench and he spots him. Talia. They're pressuring here, West Coast. Although Bontempelli runs around them as if they're not there.
He goes all right.
And kicks it long. Where's Stringer this time? Oh, wonderful Mark McGovern. Super player.
That's a great grab. Come in as the third up.
His man went to the back too, so if he drops this ball, you see there Lin Jong going to the back, looking for the...
turnover.
On the way out, turnover. McRae's a left footer. Decides to go back and spins again. And pulls the kick. That's not 15. Cramry off the ground. That's just 15 to Dowhouse again. And surely, unless the Bulldogs get one of these goals soon, you feel the West Coast will turn it over, go up the other end and kick one.
It's always the way. Just through weight and numbers, if you don't capitalise on the dominance in play, you'll pay the price.
It's going to go round the corner.
Well, going straight didn't work last time. This one probably does.
Pulled the ears off that.
Not too much. So it's now started to be an issue for the Bulldogs. 13-12 to 14-2.
We've got no Nat Nui out there, so you reckon they won't go the long bomb option?
The only thing it is, lie set up against a very inexperienced ruckman and Boyd.
So they're not set up for it down the middle. This is going to go wide or short, so they can press up here, the Dogs.
Yeah, you're right, Jared. He just forced a kick to the pocket. And Lacroix.
He's one of their best users, so he'll be looking for another short kick just to maintain some possession.
But they have gone a lot more conservative with these type of kicks in this quarter.
That's good small.
Just looking for some territory.
Yeah, that's right. They're not taking on the aggressive pass into the corridor at the moment.
Still only a 4-point game.
The Dogs have got extra numbers deep, so the Eagles just can't get it and blaze away.
Bontempelli squeezes it out, manages to get inside the forward 50, handled back towards Goods from Crammery. Good pressure, Wallace. Close down. Fans want a free kick, it won't be coming.
What the Dogs forwards have done at these stoppages is push right up. So you saw Shuey try to go back, you saw Prittis try to go back. Those outlet tracks aren't there.
There's Shuey. He took on the tackler, but he managed to get the handball away. Rose's kick around the corner. Lamb again. Over the top, Morris. Johannesson trying to keep it towards the line. And Crammery. Shepherd takes it over.
Just for a moment, the run off half-back has gone for the Eagles. Just gone into their shell, and part of that's got to be the credit to the Western Bulldogs. Their defensive pressure has been maintained throughout the night.
Lie set down in front. Wallace got there first. Touched by the kick by Boyd. Dowhouse not getting past Nelson.
Well, we heard Don Pike say that their stoppage work needed a hell of a lot of change at half-time, and they did that in the third quarter. Right now, a stoppage can hurt them and cost them a game.
Yo.
Oh, that's a throw.
Yeah. Umpire in good position. Now, who's got the kick? It's going to be Dixon.
Yo's claiming he got a hand to that. Heard from the umpire there. You just let it go. You didn't
we saw
the handball.
Dixon with a terrific finish on the run in the third quarter. He split the middle.
Yeah, you back this bloke.
If you can manage to do it again, here we go.
So he's taken on to go around. Poor opportunity's gone, and he's missed it.
Umpire, great call.
Great.
Got a good long run up. Like to see that. Get some momentum through the footy. They keep missing goals. They need one to get a bit of a break. And the crowd tell the story. They've got a break.
They've got a break, and they've just dominated the ball over the last 10 minutes. I mean, they've just absolutely belted the Eagles as far as possessions are concerned, and just see the free kick here.
Well, it was clear as day there. The umpire spot on, and the finish clear as day as well.
2 goals for Dixon. He's pumped, he's happy. Scoreboard says Dogs by 10 points. Cue West Coast goal.
Maybe not.
Nat Nui back, and so's Minson. Nick Nat up. Shuey the target. Couldn't get past. Good tackle by Wallace. Morris out. Bang. Nat Nui knocks him down. Goods. Talia. Lycett approaches. Talia gets his kick away. Cranmery will want the boundary line. That's a good defensive kick from Talia.
That's been one of the big differences in this last term, Lynchy. The inability of the Eagles to get some easy ball. Is Nick Nat Nui again. That's after a ruck contest, coming through 30 metres, just hunting the footy. Whereas the Dogs have continually been able to rebound and set up some shots.
Yeah, but work rate's been extraordinary.
Now, the man who stayed on his feet was good, and somehow the ball fell for him. Through the legs of McRae, now he has to give it back. Morris, off a standing start, it's wide. It's still in. For now.
Dale Morris looked like he was playing rugby union then, just looking for the...
He was the fullback. They just go back to him and he kicks towards the line.
So, Bontempelli had 7 possessions in the first half. He's up to 22 now, 7 of those in this last quarter.
1 in the first quarter.
Working extremely well.
They got McRae sidelined by himself.
Wallace
there he is.
on the up. Just lost his footing, McRae. He's got a problem now.
He's got a problem, but the Eagles got the big problem. They need to score essentially 2 goals to win this match in 5 minutes without the Dogs scoring again. You'd like to be in their position.
Sheed.
Ducked his head. He'll get no support from the umpire. And this is the problem here now for the Eagles. The Bulldogs can just close it up. They've got their 10-point lead. They don't need to score. They can just lock it down. They need to find some space.
John. Quick return back, handball back from McRae, and then John puts it into the crowd.
That's one way of getting it.
So here's a chance for West Coast.
They've got to change back to the aggressive nature they had earlier in the game. They've got to take on the corridor. It's getting late in the game now. This conservative play going long down the line isn't working.
There it is,
It That's the one. To Rosa, he can go wider. Oh, his kick's a poor one. Should have been out in front of Shep, but it was behind. Oh, wonderful steal by Stringer.
Here it goes. No.
And he's just going to pop it over to Jong, who marks on 50. He wants to play on. He wants to give it to Honeychurch. That's not going far.
Well, sometimes when you're a young player, you're just playing on your instinct. You're being told and encouraged to play on at all costs, etc. That was a time when it just needed a wise ahead just to settle it down.
He's done some good things, Stringer. He kicked straight today. It'll be a marvellous game. 3 goals, 3, 1 out in the full. Eagles now, the clock started to become a bit of an issue. Lamb and Morris, the contest. That's a strong contest, Cranmery. Picken only knows a strong contest. Flicks it between his legs. And the kick from Minson finds McRae, who hits it up high towards the top of the square. McGovern again.
He's good. They've got to go now.
And they do. And it's Elliot Yeo bouncing. And the kick
There's the aggressive
turns
one.
on its end.
There's a tied one as well.
There's a tied kick. But down they go.
It's forced something to happen.
Kept his feet. Cripps kicks it up high. Kennedy's there. So too Lacroix. Kennedy almost off the toe of his boot. Still going. Kennedy held. Still going. Kennedy. That's advantage surely.
Against Kennedy, I reckon it's going to be.
Oh, there you go. You can't believe it.
Kennedy got, once the ball hit the ground, Kennedy got caught behind and just reached for his opponent and pulled him back. Not much in it, but it was a free kick.
Oh, crucial play by Kennedy. And now the Dogs might be able to soak up a bit of time.
I reckon Lacroix took his second grab in that marking contest.
Chong's been good. 24th disposal for him. Only Boyd and McRae have had more. 30 apiece.
There's a turnover.
Oh, no free kick Dalhouse. He's been hit heavily high.
Well, that was absolutely accidental because I think, is it Yo there?
Yep.
He stopped. He could have come at that contest a lot harder.
Just a little bit of slow down here to McRae. Nui's there. So was Stringer. So was Minson. Big Will. Oh, that would have been they would have gone mad if Big Will dribbled that one through.
Where's this one going, Jared?
Well,
kick out.
3 minutes to go.
You'd like to see Nat Nui take up the position at about 80 metres away.
Yeah, you think this has got to go down the middle.
McGovern's sore. He's been terrific, as we mentioned a few times tonight, but heavily hit in that contest.
They're one turnover away here, the Eagles, from just having no chance. They've got to find a way to go forward. That's just a kick to outnumbered position.
And it wasn't the man. Dom Sheed's not your man to be kicking a high ball to.
No, I think Dom Sheed's starting to cramp up as well. Have a look at the right arm throat chop to McGovern as Nick that comes flying through.
Got a big day, McGovern.
Minson wins that one. Honeychurch trying to fish it out. So too Dalhouse. Over the top of him, Selwood. Still alive for now.
He's done well, Dalhouse, because he dived on that ball. It would have been holding the ball, but he did enough to squeeze it out.
From the bounce.
Yeah, a good tap.
Shuey to Prittis. And the Brownlow medalist couldn't quite get the kick away there.
It was great lead-up work from Shuey as well. Little handball, put the block on, did everything to help his teammate out.
Prittis cramping in both legs.
They can kill a minute here.
Yeah, or shut it down now. Absolutely have to.
2 minutes remaining in the game. It's an 11-point lead.
No need to
So
hurry.
the fairy tale is 2 goals for the Eagles.
The team's rehearsed this late in games.
Yeah, they've got to push a number up here, the Eagles, just to cover them off, or they'll just play kick to kick.
We could request a 5th quarter. It's been fun.
Oh, it has
They
been.
can go again.
So they're one-on-ones all over the ground now, so they're going to be forced to go long. They won't go into the corridor now, unless actually Jared Grant is
Just go back to Dale Morris.
Just go long.
They're going to go long, but Nat Nui's coming. Minson, just the contest. Well done by Marston. Prittis has got to be quick. They've still got it here, the Eagles. Rose are on hands and knees. Lamb through. Couldn't take it. Wallace down low. Well done, Cramery. Wood loves to run with the footy. Loves to take them on. Wobbles it forward. Stringer off his boot. Went the wrong way.
Last roll of the dice.
They've got to be very quick here, and then they've got to do it again. But they've got a shot at goal here, surely. Gaff.
He's got to carry it.
Low. Kennedy. Worked under it. Worked under it, and they didn't work that out. And this will slow it down here. Touch play on. Wallace. Honeychurch and Lysette.
Lack of composure on that occasion from Gaff. He had a player inside as well. He could have handballed the ball to, but he had to take a bounce and take the 50-metre arc and take it upon himself to kick the goal.
Minson and Lysette in ruck. Next man up was Rosary. Saw Shuey had a metre. He throws it on the boot, but it's Bulldogs with the numbers. 3 on 2. Lacroix was up, down, boundary, your best mate there.
Very nicely done. Just ran the ball out of bounds. Talia.
How does it fall? Prittis is there. Lysette with the ricocheted ball. Sheed's a left footer. He's got to just keep it low. Found his man in Kennedy. Clock ticks down. It's got to be quick.
You'd be putting the ball down and stopping the clock, wouldn't you?
Has to be correct. Has to be straight. It's not. And the fans, the Dogs fans know it. It's taken a while. They've only kicked their 3rd behind for the night. They've been terrific in front of goal all evening, the West Coast. Not to be that time for Kennedy.
It's been an outstanding display by a young Western Bulldogs team that's had a horrific summer, really.
Well, what they did was deliver what they showed 2 weeks ago. We wondered that night what was real. Well, we now know it's real.
Last kick for the game. The new captain, Bob Murphy. What a game by the Western Bulldogs. What a contest by the West Coast Eagles. 10 points is the margin. What a start to the year.
Great game by both clubs, but the Western Bulldogs get the spoils, and Luke Beveridge gets his first 4 points as a coach. What a transformation over this club after what can only be described as an horrific off-season where they lost captain, they lost CEO, they lost all sorts of elements to the club. Brownlow medalists, they've lost their best and fairest winner, but they're playing some exciting football with a new coach and a new captain. And and everybody is just prepared to lay it on the line. It was exhilarating stuff.
It was a fascinating game to watch, a high-intensity game. We knew how they were going to have to go about it because they had two big, young, inexperienced forwards. Their defensive pressure in their forward half had to be at an absolute 100% for the entire game, and it was. They caused the turnovers, and it was a fantastic display by the Western Bulldogs. The sun has certainly come up for them in 2015. I think they thought it was never going to, but that man, you got to pay credit to Bontempelli. Very quiet first quarter, one possession, 7 in the first, but worked his way back into the game. Made a real contribution even when he didn't have the ball.
10 tackles.
7 tackles in that first half when he could hardly get the ball in his hand. Outstanding display. I thought Wallace was pretty good on Pritis as well. Didn't give him the space that he can sometimes find. So outstanding display across the board for both teams really, but the Western Bulldogs great win.
One man will be absolutely over the moon. It was fitting that he had the last kick. It's his first game as skipper. Here he is with Barry.
Yeah, thanks, matey. Here with the skipper, 100% strike rate. But what a tough game of footy first up.
Yeah, like round one games, they're always high intensity, go right to the wire. And that for the boys, that for the supporters. Yeah, we're away.
You obviously have some clear goals you want to produce during a game, but tackling seemed to be one for me that you guys really come up to play.
We talk about it a bit, source pressure, pressure on the ball every week, as 18 clubs do, but it's been a highlight of the summer so far. The challenge now is to keep it going for 26 weeks.
And the forward line has been working fantastic for you. All of a sudden, you got multiple options down there to kick goals.
Yeah, I think it's we've got some really hungry guys down there at the moment. Fierce at the contest, good on the ball, and some tall young guys who are learning their craft, but they're throwing themselves into it.
And what about the coach? You've been around footy a long time. What does he bring differently to the club?
He's just one of those. It's still very early, but his ability to galvanise a group in such a short time, and he's just a really balanced guy, and I think he's brought out the best of us so far.
Good on you, skipper.
Thanks, mate. Good to see you.
Well, we talked about it all night. Who would last with this fast-paced game? And in the end, the Bulldogs had the energy levels at the end, didn't they?
They did, and they looked as if they could keep going. And I think they'll take a hell of a lot of beating whichever side they take on, because they're playing with no fear at the present time, and they're not relying on 2 or 3 brilliant individuals. They are just playing as a unit, and it's all based on hard work.
They're playing with a game style that's obviously they're very aware of the talent base they've got. They're using their assets that they've got. They're small defensive style forwards are working really well. They've got some X-factor players, obviously a couple of young stars of the future. Bontempelli, we just saw Stringer there as well, and they've got some really honest players. And I think you look at some of the superstars of yesteryear being able to go to a half-back like Matthew Boyd, playing a slightly different role, handing over to some of the younger players that have stepped up beautifully. And there's a lot to like about this club. It mightn't relate to finals football this year, but there's plenty of hope.
I know that some of the younger players that are lesser names, massive speed. They've got enormous speed in this team.
Well, one man that could have kicked 5 or 6 goals. I know you were pretty keen on him all night, Jared, but he was terrific. Jake Stringers with Barry.
Yeah, thanks, Matty. Well, what a tough game of football, but you got challenged a number of times in that game, and you found a way to come back and win.
Yeah, West Coast obviously a very good opposition, and the boys, to their credit, we stuck at it, and we were lucky enough to get the win.
And what about your own performance? It was a really good win. Obviously, kicked a few goals, but the forward line as a whole functioned pretty well.
Yeah, it's there's 3 or 4 new faces up there, and it would have been nice to kick a couple at the end, kept missing, but it's all the forward line. We're going to be a force to reckon with in a couple of weeks.
And I thought your big name recruit Tom Boyd, I thought the way he competed was fantastic. He just kept jumping for the footy. He'll start clucking there very soon.
Yeah, that's all we want from him. We just want a contest, and he's providing that. In a year or 2, he's going to be hard to stop. So
we'll go and enjoy it.
Thanks, mate.
So the Dogs get the spoils, and rightly so. But I think after the disappointment of laying it all on the line, which they did, the Eagles, they'll get on the plane and go back knowing that despite the savage injury blow again today with Mitch Brown, they have got much to look forward to if they continue to work like they did tonight.
Oh, that's right. They've just got to sustain the effort over a long period of time. And if they're going to harbour ambitions of playing finals football this year, they've got to sustain that effort for longer than they did today. I thought the last 15 or 20 minutes they went the shell.
They went shorter.
Started going shorter, started going down the line, a bit more conservative. Yep. But also we've got to give these guys credit for actually forcing them to do that.
Just over 22,000 people here for round one. And they're all, most of them Bulldogs fans, and they're all pretty pleased seeing their team leave the arena, but they've got 4 points straight up. And last year it was the West Coast Eagles by 65. Big turnaround.
Massive turnaround. That was at Patterson Stadium in Perth. They've been able to turn the result right around here at their home ground. There's a very happy first game coach. And he'd be, as a former Western Bulldogs player as well, he'd be very happy with this result to get the smile on the faces of many players and certainly the crowd.
Matty Boyd with 33 disposals. Jackson McRae, 31. As I mentioned, Nolan, Wallace, Bontempelli and Johannesson with a couple of goals as well. There'll be some emotion here.
Oh, absolutely. There's a very proud president just wandering in there, Peter Gordon, and they might chuck him in the middle too for a bit of power.
Here we go. It's a sparkling start to season 2015 for the Western Bulldogs. A wonderful game of footy for everyone watching. In the end, they've been too good, and they've outlasted the Eagles and won by 10 points. It was a night of plenty of highlights for the Western Bulldogs. There was some for the West Coast Eagles, but the Bulldogs were there at the right time when it was required. Easton Wood with a big goal early. Bontempelli, that's what the fans expect from him. He's only young, but they expect him to do some special things, and he was there after a quiet first quarter. Dixon with 2 goals, kick straight, kick true, and when the siren sounded, it was the Dogs in front on the scoreboard by 10 scoring shots at the end, 14-13 to 14-3. So good kicking for goal once again by the West Coast Eagles, but there was nothing in it. There was never more than a goal in it in the first 3 changes. The Eagles just nipped ahead at 3/4 time by 2, but 3 goals to 2 in the final quarter, 3 goals 7 to 2 goals 1. They had the energy, they had the legs at the end, the Dogs, stringing with 3, Dixon and Johannesson 2 each, and 5, a personal best for Cripps, Kennedy 2, Shuey 2, plenty of disposals through the middle, but plenty of highlights of both teams. And I guess, gentlemen, from our point of view, you come to a game, it's the first game of the year, you're just hoping for a good one, and they've set a pretty good standard. What an enjoyable game.
Yeah, it was absolutely brilliant. Let's hope that's the standard for footy. Fast footy, lots of goals, maybe a little bit more accurate for the Western Bulldogs in the final term. Pretty tough on Luke Beveridge when your side kicks 3-7, and you just want somebody to kick 1 goal to put the final nail in the coffin. But we look at all the highlights and all the stat sheets, etc. I don't think it's going to reflect, I think, one of the best players on the ground, and was for the West Coast Eagles. Jeremy McGovern, I thought, was quite superb. He had a lot of work to do in that final term. His efforts weren't enough, but I think they've found a player, and sadly, they need to find players.
They needed another one, especially in the first quarter with Mitch Brown going down with that knee injury. So the fact that he stepped up was really good. I was so impressed with the Western Bulldogs. We know that when Nick Natanui goes into the centre bounces, they can get a dominance there. But 7 goals 7 from forward half stoppages for the Western Bulldogs was an amazing effort against a really well-drilled West Coast midfield.
And I think a lot of that's to do with their speed. They are committed tacklers, and they've got great leg speed in general. They've got a couple of slowers, or one slower type player on the back flank in Matthew Boyd, but he's such a brilliant reader of the play.
Smart.
He plays fast, even though his legs go a little bit slow. But you look at the likes of Dalhouse and Johannesson, etc. They are just like a swarm, and they are unravelling some forward lines, and they're going to unravel some defences, I should say, with their speed and their pressure.
For a game with contrasting styles, it's amazing it stayed so close so often. I mean, they got it to 15 points a couple of times, the West Coast Eagles, but the Dogs would come back because we had fast break from the Eagles, and then we had pressure points inside their forward 50, the stoppages you talked about.
Yeah, I thought it was an incredible contrast, but the work rate from the Dogs is something that actually surprised me a little bit, that they could sustain it for the entire night. I thought that was a massive plus. They identified they had 2 young forwards that probably not going to mark the ball overhead a lot, so we've got to get to the front and we've got to hold the ball in the forward 50. And that first half, it was 63% time in forward half for the Western Bulldogs. Incredible number.
Well, plenty more highlights to come over Easter, I'm sure of it. We've got 3 games tomorrow and then the big game on Monday, but going to be hard to toss this one. This was a great game to watch. Western Bulldogs fans will be pretty pleased. Why wouldn't they? They've won by 10 points in a beauty.
This has been a Fox Footy production, part of the Fox Sports Network.